Yeah, you got a weird tight on, brother.
Chris does that.
Oh,
Chris wants it tight.
I don't like this tight. That's mine.
You just give it out my mug.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for, live from the KERN studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those who've subscribed on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. We got a busy Tuesday broadcast. I was gone last week, as many of you know. Haven't had a chance to talk about this death of the 8-year-old Genesis child who was killed found dead in the La Quinta Hotel on Buck Owens Boulevard. We'll talk about the death penalty and whether or not her parents deserve the death penalty. Channel 17 did a piece comparing a situation that happened about 10 years ago in Palmdale, where the male received the death sentence, the female did not. And that's one of my issues with the death penalty, although you may be surprised about my take today. Kicking and screaming, I'm going to talk about Taylor Swift. Please tell me you didn't get the audio? You got the audio? I was hoping you'd say, I can't find it, Ralph. You're going to have to skip the topic. No. I mean, I debated it because, the average listener is 78 years old. Are they really as excited as these people are? I just saw this package where if you don't know what I'm talking about, and most of you don't, because again, it's 78, Taylor Swift went on Travis and Jason Kelce's podcast, which was unheard of. And I'm sure their numbers are going to be berserk. Yeah. When did you call it Gridiron Heights? Oh, he talked about this too?
Yeah, well, not for an extent, but we did bring it up a little bit.
All right. Well, we've got some audio from her. Was it from last week? Because the podcast doesn't come out till Wednesday.
Oh, this is a preview
for tomorrow's podcast. So they cut it. So they cut it on Monday then. They're showing their cards. Or they cut it early today. I saw it this morning on the Today Show. No, they must have cut it on Monday. Yeah. You saw it? Yeah, I did too. So yeah, we'll get into that. She's releasing a new album and she did so on their podcast, which I think really just cements the fact that they are going to get married. I was wrong about that. I predicted there's no way she marries this guy. But if she's releasing an album on their just her going on the podcast, I figured she ain't never, ever going on that podcast. And there she was sitting next to her boyfriend. And I was like, okay. It just about the blue eyes and the blue thing and sweetie. That's what I'm saying. They just don't. No, it doesn't. That's why every time I see them together, it doesn't seem natural. It doesn't seem, you know who else I feel that way about? And listen to Chris and I determine who should be together. Can you guess what other celebrity couple I think about that? Fairly recently, yes, as I signed my endorsements for Mr. Flores. Oh, we talked about it. I'll give you a hint. Shooter. No, I knew that's where you're going to go. He is a shooter. That should give it away.
Oh, Klay Thompson and the rapper.
Mega the Stallion.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. Have you seen the video of him trying to teach her how to play golf?
Seen the video of them trying to work out together, and he absolutely runs her into the ground.
That's okay. But golf for a woman, and I know that was an incredibly stupid thing to say, given the fact I was just reading today that a young Buckley High School student, where your favorite radio talk show host matriculated from 6th grade to 10th grade in Sherman Oaks, California, 1700 Stansbury Boulevard, shot a 62 at BCC to win the AGVC event. She shot a 62, and she's a high school student at BCC. And she went to the Buckley School. It's not Buckley High. It's called the Buckley School. Get it right, California. But anyway, I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? I don't see them staying together. I don't see Travis and Taylor, but you'll hear from Miss Swift in just a second. Teresa Goldner will be here at the bottom of the hour. And a Washington Post poll came out today as Janine Pirro, the United States attorney, went off on changing laws and being more strict on juveniles and being part of Donald Trump's attempt to clean up Washington, D.C., as the liberal media flooded you guys with statistics about how crime is coming down. The Washington Post finally did something fair. They didn't look at numbers put up by police departments. They went to the people of Washington, District of Columbia. And in a Washington Post poll, 65% of the residents in Washington, D.C. say it is not safe and that crime is a serious matter. Even a CNN poll stated that, well, I'll get to it when we jump into that because I can't find it. I got to put my glasses on. But even the CNN poll was overwhelming that people in D.C., the people that live there, are going to be grateful for what the Trump administration are attempting to do. And we'll talk about another murder that occurred here in town, a murder over loud music. Two neighbors getting into it. Happened on my birthday. That's Sunday, August 3rd. And we'll break that thing down for you as well. And we know more about Ethan Nineker, the target shooter who randomly killed 3 people. These things are becoming daily. I used to say weekly, but now they're daily. 32 years old, and wait till they found some posts on his Facebook from several years ago where this kid was reaching out. You know, you almost want to feel sorry for this kid, but then you read that he killed a 4-year-old, her grandfather, and a knucklehead kid that worked at the Target that was collecting carts out in the parking lot. Kills them all randomly, steals the grandfather's car. Now get this, steals the grandfather's car, leads police on a chase, loses them, crashes the car, and then if they're car salesmen out there, call the show or text us at 842-5376. He gets onto a car lot and drives off on a car. Are some of those cars, you just push the button and they're ready to go? So he steals a car from the car lot. The police finally track him down. He's buck naked with a Bible, insisting that he's Jesus Christ. We have lost several generations of young men, and no one is doing anything about it. We'll delve into that in the 5. And the Dodgers lose again. Dodgers lose 7-4, and it wasn't even that close. Shohei and Max Muncy hit a pair of home runs late to make it look close. They were getting their butts 7-0 when I turned the channel, and I came back and had to rewind and see what happened. But we are now 1 game up. We were 9 games up on the Padres a month ago. 9 games up. And even if we win the division or we get into the playoffs, even if we win the division, we're the 3rd best team among the division leaders. Aren't you guys ahead of us? Philly's ahead of us?
Yes.
Don't tell me. Who else in the NL's ahead of us? Who's the big? Oh, Milwaukee, who swept us for the first time ever in the state of Wisconsin this year. They're ahead of us. So no home field advantage this year, even if we make it to the playoffs. We'll talk about that. And I hope I get a chance to talk about Dylan Brar, the son of Raji Brar, former regular on the Ralph Bailey Show, and overall good egg, even though she blew me off in D.C. We were in D.C. together. And she said, yeah, I'm going to come by your hotel, have a drink with you and the veterans. Never saw her. But she was hobnobbing. Then when I texted her, say, don't you know a brother anymore? I'm having cocktails with congressmen. I'm like, oh, excuse me, Miss Brar. But her son, she has raised some phenomenal kids. They all have their own nonprofit. And Dylan set up a nonprofit. He's a tremendous golfer. He shoots in the 60s out of BCC, and he's going to be a senior in high school. And he set up a golf tournament for the Boys and Girls Club and raised $30,000 and made the presentation yesterday. We're going to have him on Friday at 4. So now you can't just say I never told you, because I just told you. Thank you. Well, that's why do you think I'm telling you now? Friday at 4, we're having him on. All right, let's take our first break of the day and we'll jump into this thing. We'll get into, I don't know if it's a debate, but you all know, if you're a regular listener, I am very hinky about the death penalty for some of the reasons that I've already laid out, that men are much more susceptible to being sentenced to death than are women. And you know the race issue with the death penalty. If you don't, I'll break it down to you when we come back. It's a Tuesday on the Ralph Bailey Show. And by the way, as I put on Facebook, I told everybody, if you tuned in on YouTube, I bet I could make you smile. But I think you have to be over 50. Do you know what I'm wearing, Mr. Burdick? You had one of these? I think we've had this discussion before. You really did, huh? Okay.
Exactly like that throughout my entire childhood. But yeah.
Why they changed?
Oh yeah, like they started putting on like actual athletes and stuff like that when they made them.
There are athletes on here.
Well, no, I'm sorry, like NBA athletes are put on that one.
Oh, really? Oh, now that would be cool. If you had a peachy folder that had like LeBron and Kobe and Michael and Larry, because you got to put a white guy on there, you know. I've never seen that. I would love to check that out. Quick time out, just getting started on a Tuesday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live, kernradio.com. You got one?
Yeah.
Is it new? Relative?
That's what I was using for you for last week.
All right.
JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. We have an employee that we all adore, young Lisa, and her husband recently retired. Right before he did that, and I didn't coerce her, she listens to the program, she hears Daniel Petrie on Thursdays, and he became a client at Messmaker and Petrie Advisors. And if you're staying in retirement in the mug like I strongly suggest you call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400, or tune in on Thursdays. He joins us at 4:30 to talk about retirement, stocks, deficit, what's going on in DC, and most importantly, how it impacts you and your wallet. Tune in on Thursdays, 4:30 for Daniel Petrie with Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation.
Hey, Siri, show me the Dodgers schedule.
Here's what's coming up for the Dodgers between today and September 25th, 2025.
Hey folks, this is Michael Binge, noted barbecue connoisseur for Southeast Barbecue and Catering, and I'm here with my buddy Jeff Salters. Hey Jeff, every time I come in, your barbecue is on point. How do you do that? The secret, Michael, is consistency. Every day we fire those smokers up with the same almond wood. Every day we fire that open pit up with red oak. And our guys are good at what they do. They know how to smoke that meat. They know how to grill that meat. And I'm telling you, they take pride in it, and they want to make sure that every time our customers come in, they get the same consistent product time after time. And that is our goal at Salty's, to make sure that when you come in here, it's as good as it was the first time. And it is. Jim, why don't you tell the folks where they can find the best barbecue in Bakersfield? You can find us at 9425 Rosedale Highway or 6801 White Lane. Or if you want, you can go to saltysbbq.com and order online. Salty's Barbecue and Catering. California Grill, Texas approved. Oh, it's good.
Hi, I'm Rick Sorcy, certified kitchen and bath designer and owner of Stockdale Kitchen and Bath. When it comes to remodeling your kitchen or bathroom, you deserve a process that's personal, precise, and as stress-free as possible. That's why I personally design every project with you using state-of-the-art three-dimensional software, so you can see exactly what your new space will look like, even before construction begins. No guesswork, no surprises, just a clear vision brought to life. And I believe in guiding you through every step of the process. I shop with you cabinets, countertops, fixtures, so you get the perfect combination of style and function. We work with top quality American-made cabinet brands like Waypoint, Diamond, Medallion to ensure long-lasting beauty and craftsmanship. If you're ready to turn your vision into reality, let's design something amazing together. Call Stockdale Kitchen and Bath at 661-834-3333. Or visit StockdaleKitchenandBath.com today. Stockdale Kitchen and Bath. Beautiful cabinetry, smart design.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You don't know what you've been missing, oh boy. Oh boy, when they go with me, oh boy.
I still say Gary. Gary Fowler. There are too many Garys. I miss Coach. I haven't seen Coach in a long time. We were playing golf for a little bit, pretty regularly, and then he had some health issues. I haven't really heard from him. His wife kind of chimes in on my Facebook every now and again. Talking about my high school football coach in LA. He moved up here long before I did. A lot of you probably know Gary Fowler. He was he first came up and was coaching at Highland, and then he moved to Centennial, and then he finally retired at Golden Valley as the athletic director. He was my high school football and baseball, and well, he coached the basketball team, but not. Did he coach the basketball team? Yes, he did. Fowler was a hell of an athlete. I remember seeing him play in an alumni basketball game, and I was like, he was a great running back at Cal Berkeley, and only got cut from the Cardinals because of MacArthur Lane. And if you're my age or older, you remember MacArthur Lane was a badass running back for the Cardinals. It's like what Tommy Lasorda says. You know, he gave birth to Sandy Koufax's career because it came down to Lasorda and Koufax, and they cut Lasorda. So Lasorda would always say, I gave birth to Sandy Koufax. Well, Coach Fowler gave birth to MacArthur Lane. Because if they had cut Lane and kept Fowler, history would have been a lot different. But he was a great athlete. He really was. He was a pretty good basketball player. I was shocked. Typical, well, I shouldn't say that. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Just because he shot a lot of bank shots doesn't make him a typical white boy. Just saying. He shot a lot of bank shots, which, you know, brothers don't. Let's get serious for just a second. I, again, was gone last week, so I hadn't been able to talk about this young 8-year-old Genesis who was murdered just so close to my house. It's right down 24th Street. I pass by the La Quinta every day coming to work. We get on the 99 coming down 24th Street right before Rosedale. And Graciela Bustamante and Ray Mata are facing the death penalty. And I literally sat for like 30, 40 minutes last night because I'm not, as many of you know, a big fan of the death penalty. And I'll tell you why. The statistics are crazy, absolutely crazy. And they benefit white folks, to be honest with you, because the statistics are irrefutable. More than 75% of death row defendants who have been executed were sentenced to death for killing white victims, even though in society as a whole, about half of all homicide victims are African American. So most of the deaths are black folks, but most of the suspects go to the death chamber if they kill a white person, first of all. Second of all, the race of defendants executed in the United States in 1970, since 1976, 56% are white, 34% are black. We make up about 17% of the population. And race of victims since 1976, the race of the victim of anybody executed, 75% of the victims are white. Only 15% of the victims are black. So in other words, if you kill a black person, you're not going to get the death penalty. But if you kill a white person, you are very likely to get the death penalty. I didn't create that at my apartment this morning. Those are irrefutable facts. And as most of you know, if you are a female, you are less likely to get the death penalty, as was the case in this piece that I think the kid Connor Dorr for 17 did, where they made a comparison between the death of this 8-year-old child and a young boy by the name of Gabriel, I believe his last name was Hernandez or Fernandez, doesn't matter, out of Palmdale, where this kid was tortured. He was locked up in like a cubicle for hours. They shot him with BB guns. They made him eat cat litter, among other horrendous things. And the boyfriend got the death penalty. The mom got life in prison. Now, how the hell does that make sense? I think that if one of the parents is doing this, even if the other parent isn't participating, if the other parent is aware of what's going on and doesn't stop it, they both go. They both go. And I think all I'm asking, even if I don't even know if I'm asking this, because every time I say they deserve to die, something inside of me, I don't know whether it's my dad or my grandmother or just my conscience, but something says when I say to myself, they deserve to die, something inside of me says, who the hell are you? Who the hell are you to determine that those people should die? And I'm befounded. I'm confused. I'm befuddled. I'm like, you're right. Who am I? Who is the state? Who are we to determine who lives and dies? But I think we can kind of focus it. I think there should be the death penalty for killing law enforcement. I think there should be killing if it's a domestic violence situation. And I think that you should be eligible for the death penalty if you commit a murder on a child. I absolutely believe that. I tossed and turned and it still doesn't sit right with me. Because I just and the crazy thing is I know so many, and I'm not that religious, as you know. I'm a good Catholic boy. Well, I'm a Catholic boy. Well, I'm Catholic. And I'm not that religious. I'm not. But I know very devout Catholic people that are completely in favor of the death penalty. And I'm saying, how does that jibe? How do you work that out? How can you be devoutly Catholic and think that the state should have the right to take somebody's life? I don't know. I don't know. That's why I brought it up. It's an old story, but it still has legs because these people, this Graciela Bustamante and Ray Mata, just don't deserve to be here. Just don't deserve to be in society. Now, what does that mean? Should they be locked up forever on our dime? Or should we put them, what are we doing now? The triple needle deal? But again, here in the state of California, what does that really mean? What does the death penalty really mean in the state of California? Vincent Brothers is still waiting in line, and I believe he's number 538. Scott Peterson is still waiting in line. How long have they been in jail? So the death penalty in the state of California truly has no teeth. It may bring, I guess, some sort of closure to the families, I suppose. But the kid that went to jail in the Palmdale situation, even if we put a diamond lane in the death penalty in prisons, they wouldn't get to this kid till 2030. I don't know. What do you think? 842-5376 is our phone number, 842-KERM. Feel free to chime in. We'll talk about this a little bit later. We'll also talk about Taylor Swift making an unbelievable appearance on her boyfriend's podcast, announcing her 12th album, I guess it is. Taylor 12, that's what they're calling this thing. On 12/12, yeah, yeah. Whoopee! Couldn't be more excited about it. Quick time out. Our former federal magistrate judge, Teresa Goldner, is next. Hey, 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 come on in. Come on in.
Cheerful today.
I
What are
am.
you doing?
I'm just getting some work done. I'll be right back.
Candy out here.
Yeah?
What's that?
That's jail. I don't think so. His door's open. Oh. Makes sense. Thank you. Would you like a water?
No, I'm good. I just went to Starbucks.
Okay.
I had a frappuccino.
The one right here?
Yes. Yeah. Boy,
Ooh.
that's so much fun over there at California. All that traffic. Jeez.
What are they doing?
I don't know. They're big.
Do you know what they're
giant
doing
trucks
out here?
messing up
I was
everything
fine.
over there.
Taking up the entire street.
It's bad. It really is. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Did you take the microphone privilege?
What are these?
Yes. I just
Is
need
it
to-
okay?
What are these?
for you.
There's candy.
Oh, it's probably the freeze-dried Skittles.
Is that what that is?
Who brought them?
It's,
I don't know, but they ruined Skittles. They ruined them.
I've never heard of freeze drying Skittles.
Neither have I, and they've totally ruined it.
It doesn't sound very good, does it?
No, it's awful.
Hey, I just recognized your sweatshirt.
If I wore it today,
That's your peachy. I love it.
I
Oh,
know.
that's so great. Oh my gosh.
my neighbors looked at me like I was crazy when I was walking out the house.
Did they recognize it? Oh no, they don't. Your
No, they
neighbors are
don't.
probably younger than you,
Yeah.
aren't they? Oh, wow.
They
They
just saw
didn't
me.
have peaches, did
They
they?
just saw me in a hoodie, a long sleeve hoodie on a 103 day, and they were like, I could see them look at me.
Did you say,
And I almost said something.
did you say it's cold in there?
I don't know them well enough, and they're not nice.
Well, I thought you liked your neighbors.
I do, but not this new couple. He's nice, but the girl is not nice.
We're not on.
She's a
We're not
waitress.
being recorded or anything, are we? There are people listening to this.
Yes, actually. I don't care if they know my neighbor is not a nice girl. She's not.
Ralph.
It's a Tuesday, and that means our former federal magistrate judge and former Kern County Council, Teresa Goldner, is live in studio. You did an outstanding job. Thank you for filling in.
Thank you, Ralph. It was really
And
fun.
the biggest comment I got was she needs her own show.
No, no, those are pretty. You have pretty big shoes to fill, and I don't think I
that's
could
not
ever
what it
do
is.
that.
No, sure you could. Sure you could.
But you know, it
But
was
here's
really fun.
here's the genius
Yes.
of not losing your job.
Okay.
You hire talented people to fill in for you,
Yes.
but you hire 5 people that could never take the pay cut. Not one of you could live
Oh, you're
on
so
what I'm
funny.
making.
You're so funny.
So I'm saying,
And I don't think that not one of us could ever take your place, Ralph.
Well, thank
You and I heard you say one time that that all your regulars, when they had to do this, that then they would appreciate how much work goes into one of these shows. Oh my goodness, you were so right. I mean,
It's,
took a lot of time to get ready
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
But boy, there were some really fun cases to talk about. I don't know if you listened to it, but
I heard a little bit of it.
we
Yeah.
talked about the Brigitte Macron case.
I
That was
did not
really
hear
fun.
that. Oh, I wish I could have heard
we'll
that.
have to talk about that after Candace Owens answers the complaint.
Yes.
We can talk about that again.
And what is she in trouble for now? She made some anti-Semitic comment about Israel recently.
Well, she's always getting in trouble.
Yeah.
But
she's,
this defamation suit is a big deal.
it is. It is.
We talked to Craig Edmondson,
Really?
who handled a very big libel suit a while ago and got $1 million verdict. And it had to do with a guy who eventually moved to Shafter and became a farmer. And he was sued. He sued the Globe.
The Boston Globe?
No, you know the Globe that's kind of like the National Enquirer.
Oh yeah, the
They-
English paper.
I don't know if it's an English
I
paper. It
think
was
it
way
is.
back when.
Yeah, I think that's an English
But
paper.
they printed a story alleging that he was there and part of the conspiracy to kill RFK Jr. or RFK, excuse me, not RFK Jr.
Really?
It was a long time ago, but Craig did a great job, and when he handled it, getting $1 million verdict was a big thing.
Was this an Indian man?
Yes,
I interviewed him.
you did.
I
Craig
did.
talked about that case.
I did. He lives in the north. At that time, he lived in the Northeast. He
Wow.
was on the stage at the time. In fact, if there's a still picture of Bobby Kennedy giving a speech before he walked into the ill-fated kitchen, you can see the gentleman standing to his Kennedy's left. He's got the gear on his head, and
Yep, that's
yeah, I
the one.
interviewed him when I was doing television.
Was he a nice guy?
Very nice man.
Well, he found out about it years later,
Yeah.
went and sued and got a verdict. Plus, Craig said they got, I think it was about, by the time it eventually made its way to the Supreme Court and was upheld, I think they got about $300,000 in interest on the case too.
Wow.
So it took him, I think Craig said it was 6 to 8 years before it was all done. But he also said that his client recently passed away.
Oh, it's too bad.
So yeah, the guy you interviewed is no
Yeah.
longer with us.
Craig's a good guy. That's Lisa Kimball Edmonston's husband.
Craig and Lisa.
I used to work with Lisa at Channel 23 when I first got into television.
She's great. I love
And they're
Lisa.
South Carolina people. They have property down in South Carolina, so
And-
I love them.
And that's where they were when Craig called in to be interviewed.
Oh, is that right?
Craig's great.
Polly Island or wherever they go?
One of those islands. I don't
Yeah.
know which one it is though.
Yeah.
I've never been on one of South Carolina island.
Really?
Never. Are they pretty? Is it pretty?
Oh, God, you got to go to Hilton Head.
Are there a lot of islands? I don't
Yes, yes,
know. Okay.
yes. They're a bunch of little tiny.
Do they get,
Fusky Island, Hilton Head. Buford is kind of an island, but it's more of a peninsula.
Do they get hurricanes there?
No,
Oh,
They
well,
really
that's a good
don't.
place to go then.
yeah, we've always talked about this on the show. Because I think South Carolina is situated like a pork chop, and Buford and Hilton Head is on the bottom. And as you move up the coast, there's Charleston and then Myrtle Beach, and that protrudes more out into the Atlantic. Now I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. This is just my
Sounds like
best
you do.
guess. Well, because every time
Sounds pretty
there's
good to me.
weather headed towards South Carolina, I panic and call my Uncle Irvin and say, "Are you guys all right?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's 72 degrees and sunny."
Nice.
I'm like, "Yeah, but it's pouring in Charleston and they got storms coming." Well, it passed us.
I think you need to go back there for a visit.
I do.
You
I
sound.
do.
It sounds like you really, really like it. There.
I spent every summer and every Easter in Buford.
Would you
and
ever retire there?
That's what I hope to do. You know, that home that they're living in technically
Yes.
is in my name.
Wow.
For whatever reason, my grandmother left it to me.
That is so sweet.
You know, well, you know why? She
because she
said,
loves you.
"This boy will be a derelict by the time he's 70, so I better leave him someplace to
No,
live."
weren't you really close with your grandmother?
I was
You
extremely
spent a lot
close.
of time with her.
I spent an entire summer with the best summer of my life. I spent with my grandmother.
Oh,
I got an internship at the Hilton Head Island Packet. I
wow.
had an internship in Miami. I'm sorry, boring you. I'm just
This
talking
is not
stories.
boring at all.
Oh, they've heard it 100 times. I got an internship in Miami. I was
Yes.
in Dade County on University of Miami campus. It lasted a week, and the funding went down and all kind of different things. And I'm not going to get into it. And I was going back to Atlanta, and my mother told me to stop in Buford to see your grandmother. I stopped in Buford. I was going to spend the weekend. And she said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to go up to Atlanta and just get a job and work for the summer and then get back to school in September." She said, "Why don't you stay here and get a job here?" So I went to the Buford Gazette, which I didn't think was a big newspaper, but in South Carolina, it is a pretty big newspaper. Like, "No, you're not ready for us." But there's a weekly out in Hilton Head. So I went out there and I met David Lauderdale, who's still alive, editor emeritus. I had contact with when I was down there last time, and
Sounds
had
like
the
you could get
summer
a-
of my life.
Sounds like you could still work there if you wanted to.
I probably could, making $35,000 a year
In your
in
retirement.
Hilton Head, where the homes are, 750 grand.
Are they really that much?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's a beautiful island.
Little houses, big money, or big money?
They're
big
old
houses?
colonial homes.
Sounds pretty.
Some of them go back to like slavery. That's what I love about those homes. Not that they go back to slavery.
I don't like that part.
But the fact that they're just those big old white with the green shutters and with the
Stately.
pillars in the front. Yeah. And the long
Nice.
driveways. And God,
Wow.
those homes are gorgeous.
Sounds like you should talk to Lisa and Craig about going back and checking out their place.
Well, we own property on Hilton Head.
Wow.
And my uncle and I keep talking about doing something with it. We keep getting offers. He calls me every couple of months. He says, Ralph, they've offered us this. And I was like, nope, don't do it.
You'll never sell it.
Don't do it. Nope.
Never, ever, ever,
Yeah,
ever.
never,
as you
ever,
say.
ever.
Why? Why?
Ever. I don't know, because I just saw my dad go through so much. My grandmother had 6 sisters. She was one of 7. And they owned property. Hilton Head only became a resort area in the mid 60s when golf started picking up and started to get on television, and Arnold Palmer was taking
that's right.
over.
Yeah, all the golf there.
And before that, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and going all the way back to the Civil War, it was mostly black, because it was a sanctuary from the Civil War. That's where black folks went and hid during the Civil War. And so up until the 40s and the 50s, it was a black community. And then when they figured out we could put a couple of hotels and some golf courses, this is right along the shoreline. They raised the poll taxes, property taxes. They ran the black folks out. And my grandmother's sisters had property. My dad was dead broke in med school and begged them, just give me a couple of years. I can get you this money. Do not sell to the big corporations. Hold on to this property. Just give me a couple of years. Let me get through my residency. Let me get through what's the other thing you do? Your residency and your internship. And by the time I'm 30, I'll be making some money. Just do. And they didn't. And
oh, that's too bad.
all you'd have to do to get my dad angry is
Tell him about that.
Tell him about that.
They just couldn't wait, huh?
Yeah, they couldn't.
When you talk
And
about,
of course, they got cheated. They didn't get what
the
that
money.
property was worth.
Oh, that's too bad. So I can see why you want to hang on to it. That's
Yeah.
a smart move, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
When you talk about a poll tax in the South, are you talking about when you vote? What is a poll tax exactly?
I don't know.
They don't have them I know they don't have it anymore, but wasn't it that did you have to pay a tax to be able to vote?
I think you're right.
I think that's what a poll
Yeah.
tax is, but I'm not positive.
I meant to say property taxes.
Okay,
That they
okay.
hiked up.
I wasn't sure about
run them
that.
off. Yeah. Did I say
Wow.
poll tax? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, we've wasted a lot of time.
Okay, good.
Because you've got some good stuff today.
So I want to tell you, I was driving down the road and I got a phone call. This is how this started. I got a phone call it was a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Phone rings, I press the button. I'm on the speakerphone. I'm not holding my cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Don't want to get a ticket.
Right.
And I get this message, and this guy comes on the line and he says, Terry, is that you? This is someone you haven't spoken to in 50 years. And he goes, do you know who this is? And I thought, no, I threw out some names, who I thought it might be. I wasn't right. So then he tells me who it is. And it's a guy that I went to high school with up in the Bay Area. I went to a high school in Danville, California, which is in the East Bay.
I'm familiar with Danville.
Are you really?
I am. I got a buddy that lives in Danville.
No kidding.
That's where he grew up.
Well, at the time, there were 2 high schools there. There was San Ramon and there was Monte Vista High School. And I went to Monte Vista High School, moved to Bakersfield at the end of my junior year and graduated from West High School. So I'm officially a Viking.
Right. Okay.
So this guy we went to Monte Vista High School, and he's putting together, cannot believe it. It hurts to say this, the 50th class reunion. I know your eyebrows are going up.
Well, no,
50.
I'm
50.
I'm 45 this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you go to your 40th?
No.
You going to go to your 50th?
No.
Okay. Well,
No.
I don't know if I'm going to go to this one or not, but he's telling me about it. And he wants me to go, and he wants me to call people.
How did he get your number?
From my big brother told him my number. Isn't that strange?
And
My big brother graduated from that high school, so he stayed in touch with a lot of them.
Wow,
So,
over 50 years.
50 years. Yeah, I guess it would be over 50 because we would have graduated in May. So anyway, he directs me to this website, and I get onto this Facebook page. I don't do Facebook because only old people do Facebook. My daughter told me.
It's true.
But there was an open Facebook page. I went on it, and it showed, people having their 50-year reunions and other reunions, and they had lists of names. And this name popped up, and I was like, no. And it was the name of Adam Schiff.
You went to high school with Adam Schiff?
He went to the same high school that I went to. I would have been in the class of 75. He graduated in 1978. So can you believe that? We went to the same high school.
Which goes to show what a great student he was, because you didn't even know who he was. Although he's a little younger, but
so nevertheless. I was like, I can't believe he went to the same high school. And then the next day, I read about this thing with Adam Schiff getting in trouble, possibly.
I think definitely.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, because Adam Schiff has been on my mind ever since I got that phone call and found out that we went to the same high school. So that's why I want to talk about Adam Schiff today. He's not usually somebody that I would, follow in the news.
Right.
If you know what I mean. Do you talk about him very much?
Not since he got elected. We had to talk about him during the whole Senate election, but no, I try to stay away.
Well, here's this. Have you been following what's in trouble for now?
Oh yeah.
Turns out that yesterday and even today, Kash Patel, director of the FBI, released that gets 4 FBI 302s having to do with interviews that were done by a staffer who was a whistleblower on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. I'll just call it the committee. And these have you ever seen an FBI 302?
Yes.
You know what it looks like?
Yes.
It's a summary of an interview that FBI agents do. It's like testimony almost.
Right.
And it can be done under oath or it can not be done under oath. But they usually, when they do it, there's 2 FBI agents that are there interviewing somebody. In order to do a 302, there has to be a case that's actually opened. And then there's a number put on each 302, the case number. And every time something goes into the file, and usually it's an electronic file, there's a serial number that's attached to each document and each 302 and everything that goes in that file. And there's a case agent that's assigned to that particular file. Case agents can change, but there's always somebody who's responsible for that file. So it turns out that there were 4 302s, I believe, dealing with this whistleblower who was a Republican staffer on the committee. And he describes in all of these 302s kind of an organized effort to release classified information. And this
leaks,
classified information. That's bad. That's
Yeah.
very bad. And so they talked about in the course of all these different interviews and these 302s, you can actually go in and read the 302s because they're released now.
Right.
They talk about how ostensibly Mr. Schiff tacitly approved to have his staffers release information to reporters. In one case, they released something word for word within, I think it was 24 hours after the committee actually was briefed on something that was very confidential. And it always had to do with Trump. It had to do with trying to not get Trump elected in 2016, trying to make sure that Trump didn't get elected in 2020, and then attacking the Trump administration later. So it was always this very negative narrative about Trump. And that was the nature of the leaks that were done out of this committee. And allegedly, according to this whistleblower, they were all done by Democratic staffers who were the House minority at the time. Very interesting. So I just was really shocked that they would do that. And I'm really glad that they actually ended up releasing them.
Well, I've got some audio that it's not, I think Schiff might be among this, but this just goes to show how far the media was engaged in this leak, and the different, I think Paul Begala is part of this compilation.
Yes.
And listen to how definitive they are about something that never happened.
And that there was no evidence for it.
No evidence. But listen to how definitive not only Begala, and you expect that from political operatives, but some of these journalists that are a part of this compilation.
Russia hacked the election. Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election. The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election, but Trump said he's still wondering if the Russians hacked the election. If we can get him to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if we can get him to accept who won the Civil War.
Colbert.
And cast a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election. Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election definitively. Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now. Election-related cyber hacking. Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election. Russia was cyber.
That's the NBC reporter for the White House.
The FBI, NSA, all of these intelligence organizations.
All right, that's enough. That's enough, Chris. And I wish you could see the video because you'd identify one of those voices was Craig, whoever the brother is on the Today Show, the host. One of them was Ari Velcher from CNN. I mean, these were supposedly respectable reporters who were saying, just repeating a lie, just repeating an absolute lie.
Well, these 302s, the interviews of these this whistleblower talks about how Schiff supposedly wanted all these staffers that were on the committee that were Democrat staffers because they were the minority at the time, expected them to leak things to these reporters. He allegedly encouraged them to go out and do this sort of thing, and if they didn't do it, their jobs were at risk.
Yep.
And so they actually kind of cultivated this whole narrative about President Trump and his administration and people that worked with him, including General Flynn, to report all this negative stuff, this alleged made up negative stuff when they knew it wasn't true.
Yeah.
And if that is true, if what the whistleblower said is true, that's outrageous stuff. And that, I mean, I think that could end up being the subject. I think they are going to open up or did open up a criminal investigation. If that is true, then I think that there is some serious potential violations of federal law, including the Espionage Act.
Could they really, though?
They could. I actually looked it up to see what they could possibly prosecute them for if this is really true. Of course, they have to prove it in order to file charges. But the first one would be under 18 U.S.C. 798. That's disclosing confidential information, classified information, knowingly and willingly. And if this was a pattern and a system, an organized thing to do this sort of thing, it would fall within that. And that's something that has a pretty serious penalty to it. It's up to $250,000 fine and up to 10 years in prison. That's one of them. Another one would be under 18 U.S.C. 793, and that has to do with gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. And again, if all of this that's in the 302 is correct, in these 4 302s, and then there was one kind of an internal electronic memo between FBI agents, if all of that is true, under that one, that would end up being a penalty of up to 10 years per count every time they release something to a reporter that pursuant to this conspiracy, this alleged conspiracy, and up to 1 to 5 years in prison. That's just 2 statutes. And then there's a couple more. There's one called 18 U.S.C. 1924. That has to do with the unauthorized removal of classified information and keeping it. And if they did that, if they actually took a report out of a file and kept it, kept it for themselves or gave it to a reporter, that is also a crime. That would actually end up being a misdemeanor, but that means they could get up to 1 year in prison. So there's some really, really serious things in there. And there's a couple other statutes that have to do with other types of things relating to evidence. So I think Mr. Schiff, if I were him, I would get a lawyer, because unless the whistleblower lied in all of these interviews that the whistleblower did with 2 FBI agents every time, and I think there may be a problem here.
And how could the whistleblower have lied? How would they know about this information if they weren't part of it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, this whistleblower,
They couldn't just create this out of their imagination.
This whistleblower was someone who was a Republican staffer, I believe, who had been talking to a Democrat staffer who had actually been fired from the committee. And so
Wow.
the Democrat staffer was talking to him, and I think I believe they talked to the Democrat staffer too. And one of these 302s was the subject of an interview that they did. I don't know if you've ever been there. There's a bar in Washington, D.C. It's called Bull Feathers. And so they went and interviewed one of them at Bull Feathers. And of course, there was a 302 on that. So these are just a series of things that were actually released over several years. And it comes out to, let's see, there was one dealing with August 2nd, 2017, another one on December 5th, 2017, another one on November 4th, 2019, and then May 23rd, 2023. And then this electronic communication, and probably a memo or an email between FBI agents, that was on October 18th, 2017. And all of this ostensibly, supposedly, allegedly was happening according to the whistleblower. And he was asked, why was Schiff doing this? What's the purpose? Why was Schiff wanting to hurt Trump so much? And the whistleblower said, because he thought if Hillary Clinton won, he would become the director of the CIA. And that was supposedly
Really?
his reasoning for wanting to hurt President Trump, or hurt Donald Trump at the time when he was trying to become president. So pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And now that,
and I believe every word of it. I
Kash,
absolutely do.
Kash Patel was also a staffer on the committee at the time. And so he knows what was going on at the time. He was privy to a lot of that stuff. And I find it very interesting that yesterday and today that he released these 302s. I think it's remarkable that he did that.
Is that standard procedure?
No.
Is that going too far?
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
Yeah.
I think that there's nothing wrong with releasing those 302s. I think that they must have thought that what's in the 302s is true in order to release it. So I'm sure there's a lot more stuff out there that they haven't released yet. But this could be, I'm not really a conspiracy person, but this could be just kind of the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And
it goes all the way back up to Hillary.
I
don't think it reaches Obama. Do you think it reaches Obama?
I don't know. I don't even know if it reaches Hillary.
Oh, it definitely reaches Hillary.
This could just be Adam Schiff. If it's true, it could be just stopping at Adam Schiff.
I thought Hillary paid for the dossier.
That's what the reports say. Her law firm paid for it.
Yeah.
The law firm that was representing her during the campaign.
Yeah.
So there's never actually any direct money trail from Hillary Clinton to the person who put together the dossier. It went through the law firm.
Really? And that doesn't hold her responsible?
It would hold her responsible if they trace it. Absolutely. But there's not going to be a check from the Hillary Clinton campaign for president to the guy in England that prepared the dossier.
It's coming from
Hillary's American law firm, who she hired to represent her.
And she can walk away from that just because it's her law firm? Like, guess who instructed them?
She would have to have known about it. And there has to be evidence that she knew about it and that she authorized it. But that's a whole different story.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the head. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
My jaw dropped when I read this.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was such a terrible thing. And maybe you remember when they would have these committee meetings and Adam Schiff would come out of the committee meetings and talk about things. And Devin Nunes was on the committee at the time. And he would talk about how mad he was because Adam Schiff was talking about stuff that was in the committee. This was all the stuff that was allegedly going on. So we don't know for sure, but it's out there in the 302. And I think Kash Patel must believe that it's true. Otherwise, he wouldn't have released those 302s.
Yeah. I got about a minute, and I have to ask you about what I saw today, that Republicans are going to take same-sex marriage back to the Supreme Court. What are your thoughts on that? I thought we were through with this nonsense.
I thought we were done with it too.
Will the Supreme Court take the case, do you think? And would they reverse this?
Well, you know what?
I know they don't have Roberts, but they may
you,
have Amy, but they don't have Roberts.
I didn't think that Roe versus Wade would ever be reversed.
Neither did I.
So what do I
Neither
know?
did I. I've said that on my show many a time.
I actually said I would shave my head if it was.
I said I'd crawl out of the state of California on my belly. But
well, I didn't shave my head. Did you crawl out of the state of
no,
California?
I didn't. No, I did not. No, I did not. I've crawled a couple of times, but not out of the state of California. Always good to see you. Thanks again for filling in. We love to have you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Teresa Goldner, quick time out. We head into the 4. Don't go anywhere.
That was fun.
That was good. That was good. Yeah, Schiff. I know he's crooked. Don't you know you when you get a feeling about somebody?
You know,
And
I don't
you
want to
just
say
know.
anything while people can hear us on YouTube.
I'll turn it off.
You're gonna have to turn that off.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 12th day of August. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We stream live at kernradio.com. I'm sorry I turned the mic off during the break, but it was requested by my guest. I believe, much to the chagrin of management, sales, everybody, Chris, JR, I think I should leave it on during the breaks. I've learned to try to curb my language and watch my topics, but there's some things, particularly if a guest requests that it gets turned off, then I've got to make my guests feel comfortable. And for those who could not hear Mr. Burdick, he is currently putting the microphone back on the headset so you can hear him and the callers. 842-5376, our phone number, 842-KERN. Before I get into the Washington Post poll on what Washington residents really think of crime in D.C., we've got to take a slight detour into the world of pop culture. So Taylor Swift went on. Jason Kelce, for the folks that don't know, part of the Philadelphia Eagles. He retired last year. He's the brother of his more famous brother, Travis Kelce, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, and most known for being the boyfriend of Taylor Swift. She made a surprise appearance on their podcast. And, well, let me see what Chris got from the podcast.
So I wanted to show you something.
Okay. What do we got?
We got
briefcase.
Yep.
Mint green with TS on it.
Yep.
What's in it?
This is my brand new album, The Life of a Showgirl.
TS 12.
Is that it?
There's another bite of the two of them flirting with each other, but
let's hear it. Come on. There's Swifties out there. There's 74-year-old Swifties out there that want to hear these two flirt.
Such a nice color on you.
Yes, I know. It's the color of your eyes, sweetie. That's why we match so well.
Podcast.
What'd she say?
we're about to do your effing podcast. Like, she's excited that she's finally getting on the pod.
Oh, that was the pre-show flirting?
I'm assuming. Yeah, again, this episode hasn't been released. This is all we have from it.
Yeah. So that's why I said just get anything you could. Yeah, because it airs tomorrow. It airs on Wednesdays. So I will certainly be watching it, and you'll probably get some more audio from that. But I just thought I'd throw that in there for the Swifties. Doesn't really match my audience, but, you know, she's universal. Stephen A. Smith had never heard a Taylor Swift song, took his daughter and three of her friends, and he now calls himself a Swiftie. He said, I've been to a lot of concerts. He's my age. He said, I've been to a lot of concerts, and that's going back to the 70s. And he started naming bands that I would name: Earth, Wind & Fire, the Commodores. He named all. I've seen Stevie. And he said, by far, this was the greatest concert I've ever been to. That's Stephen A. Smith, 60-something-year-old brother, who had never claimed he had never heard a Swiftie song before that. But now is a Swiftie, thanks to his daughter. Children keep us old folks young. They really do. I'm only knowledgeable of what's going on through my nephew. And unfortunately, I let him pick movies that we see, and that's not a good idea. Not a good idea. 842-5376, 842-KER. Anything on the board before I get going here?
Yeah, we got it.
What do you got?
Inflation has cooled down. Trump's peeps said we had a zero increase on groceries. This is coming from a guy that has convinced of falsifying business records.
Okay. What else you got? Glad you got that off your chest. What else you got?
Technically, if we made a diamond lane for the death penalty, we could get through that list of death penalty pretty quickly, 5 or 6 at a time.
5 or 6 at a time?
I see what they're getting at, though.
That doesn't seem a little obsessive is not the word. A little over the top.
Overkill.
Yeah, literally.
Unintended.
Yeah, literally. I don't know. Again, I struggle with the death penalty. But when I see an 8-year-old child that's not given an opportunity, and life is such a lottery, isn't it? That's one of the things when I was growing up that I at least recognized just how lucky I was to have Ralph and Harriet in the same house with me. I really, truly recognize that. My parents probably didn't feel it, but I knew any positive traits I had and all my moral compass was based on these two people. Imagine having two villains as the people that are your moral compass and the people that are supposedly trying to raise you and put you in a position to get educated, get a job, and create your own family. And those two people in your house are villains and they're torturing you. And that's why I was just like, no, these people deserve a death penalty. They really do. Now we need to change the death penalty and make it more equitable. If you weren't with us at the top of the show, I showed you some numbers that are just off the chart, where women are very rarely put to death, and suspects who kill Black people are very rarely put to death. I think the stat I read was 75% of the victims of a murder that results in the death penalty are white victims. Only 15% are Black. That just doesn't make any sense. 35% of those that are going to the death penalty are Black, when we make up less than 20% of the population. But I think we can make exceptions. Law enforcement, children, domestic violence, things of that nature. What else?
Ralph, statistics have proven that it's more expensive to the taxpayer to put someone to death than keep them alive in prison, because if given death, they get 3 appeals, which is each very lengthy and costly.
Well, that's here in the state of California, not in Texas. That's why I said that's the line. In fact, I think I stole that line from George Bush, who, when he was governor, was saying, we're gonna put a diamond lane in this thing and speed up the process. I did a column, as I've talked about, because there was a period where people thought that prisoners were seeking the death penalty because of what you just said, the 3 appeals that they get, the access to a law library, the access to the phone that the other prisoners do not get because they have to have the ability to talk with their attorneys for those appeals. They have access to a law library that every first-year law student would give his left arm to have access to. They have a lot of perks that they receive being on the death penalty, being on death row. And there was some suggestion that they were favoring that because of that. But that's what I said. I said, if these two, Graciela Bustamante and Ray Mata, are convicted or sentenced today, they got to get in line. How long ago did Vincent Brothers kill his family? What, 20 years ago? He's like number 638 on a long list of people waiting. So even at 5 a person, we'd have to get like a Third Reich pace, a Nazi pace on killing. And I don't know if that's who we want to be. That's my problem. Is that who we are as a society? Whacking 5 people a day and calling it justice? I just don't know if that's who we should be. I just don't know if God would be happy with that. And I know that's a corny, simplistic, almost high schoolish type of statement, but maybe that's who I am. I think like that. What would God think of this? I don't say, what would Jesus do? What would God think of this? What would his judgment be on this? That we're taking one of his child's lives. I don't know. One more, let's take a break.
Ralph, I've been paying attention to your YouTube channel for both you and JR's show.
Thank you. What do you think about
To me,
PG folder? I love this thing. Wore this just for you guys. My neighbors looked at me like I was a nut when I was walking out of my apartment today. And I almost said something to him because I saw the little waitress looking at me like, is he insane? He's wearing a hoodie. But she's not a nice person.
It is 100 degrees outside, though.
I know, but it's 68 in here, so I feel great. Go ahead.
Truth is, to me, having the mic on during the commercials is a distraction. And there are a few times where it's left you both a little less flattering than I'm sure you'd both like to think that you are. Sometimes we don't have to see how the sausage is made to enjoy it.
Well, see, I think most of the people do. You have an opinion, I have an opinion, and mine counts. And I don't know how unflattering. The only thing I do is either go in and talk with one of our DJs down the hall, or I'm talking to Chris, or I'm getting water out of the refrigerator. I don't even walk anymore as I used to during the breaks. But if you don't like it, turn it down. Don't listen. Why? How is it a distraction? Or just go to Kern Radio. You don't have to look at my ugly mug. I don't know why y'all want to look at my ugly mug in the first place. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the Washington Post poll that defies all the graphics that the liberal media was putting up during President Trump's address dealing with the National Guard. Now, day two, 28 more days. I'll give you the breakdown on how the deployment of the National Guard is going to work, how long they'll be there, and what the president can do to extend it, and what the residents of Washington, D.C. think. And you'll also hear from Janine Pirro, U.S. Attorney, who went off this morning showing statistics about the fact that it's August and the murder rate in D.C. is at 100 already. But everything's hunky-dory in D.C. Crime is down. It's been 8 months. We only have 100 people dead. What's the panic? Unbelievable. And again, the Democrats, like I said yesterday, 80-20. They find themselves on the wrong side of an 80-20 issue. And if they want to fight someone fighting crime, go right ahead. Go right ahead and fight Donald Trump's attempts to make D.C. safe, because you all are on a propaganda run trying to convince America that D.C. is a safe place. It's not. It's not. It is the most dangerous capital in the planet. And it's funny, I love this. I was reading the New York Times this morning, and the two capitals they used, Bogota and Mexico City, were the same examples I gave on the show yesterday. We are more dangerous than, D.C. is more dangerous than Bogota and Mexico City. That don't make no sense. Bailey can see that. The New York Times can see that. Won't hear that from the liberal media. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Tuesday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 AM 1180 KER, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Newstalk 96.1.
Casey?
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, what is Vlad Putin's strategy going into the Friday summit with Trump talking about Ukraine? Plus, have you ever thought it's weird that all the young Marxists are really into Palestinian rights? What's the connection there? We'll explain the so-called Red-Green Alliance to you and handle the news of the day, of course, on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Going through another very, very warm spell. Things are going to calm down in about a couple of days, but if you can't barbecue, which I can't believe you'd get out in this heat and try that, and you're looking for a good steak, well, just a reminder, because everybody knows about Casey's Steakhouse. You guys were the ones that voted it not only the best romantic restaurant, but obviously the best steakhouse in Kern County. And don't forget about the Stockyard. I got to remind you guys that every single day. I found out at a recent event that many of you regulars that go to Casey's Steakhouse aren't familiar with the Stockyard. It's been an absolute game changer for Cassie Biddle. It's got a banquet room and a place where you can have dinner. They have live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. and they have craft cocktails. Get in there, have a great time either before or after having dinner in the main restaurant, or just have dinner in the Stockyard. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music in the main restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Where would you rather be than on F Street in the capable hands of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff at Casey's Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Vivian Rushing.
Hi, my name is Vivian Rushing. I am a client of Paul Sheldon. They helped me get everything in order. I had no clue what I was doing, and they were wonderful. The staff is amazing. Lynn and Kelly go out of their way to make you feel comfortable when you walk through the doors and make sure you have everything that you need. Paul is very accommodating. He uses himself as an example to help you understand the process of the insurance and what benefits you should be looking at and what you shouldn't be looking at and how to go about getting it together. I have recommended Paul Sheldon. Just a couple of days ago, I was in line to get my medications, and this gentleman was talking about retiring and didn't know what to do. I told him, contact Paul Sheldon. He's the best. I just want to say thank you, Paul Sheldon. You're wonderful and your staff is amazing.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. Every day, Dave spends $5 on
One ultra latte with a caramel drizzle?
but for less than $1 a day, he could protect his family with a $500,000 life insurance policy from SelectQuote. And for about the same $15 a month he spends on,
Honey, what's our password to Streamflix?
he could have a life policy from SelectQuote. But when his wife asked him,
Honey, have you looked into life insurance yet?
Dave said,
Whoa, how are we going to afford life insurance?
if only Dave knew that SelectQuote could find him a policy for up to 50% less than he's found online. That's about the same amount as one of his streaming subscriptions. SelectQuote is a broker. They know which carrier has the right policy for Dave's situation, so he'll have money left over for
A karaoke machine with auto-tune.
I'm canceling your credit card.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Get your free quote now at SelectQuote.com or call 800-341-6060. That's 800-341-6060. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
To KERN. Man, you don't know people. I try to tell people this every single day. You don't know anyone that you have not lived with. That's my opinion. You just don't. You just don't. And I think the story of these neighbors and this guy ended, this 44-year-old man, Jason Gerard, I believe his name was, ended up being killed. It's just an example. It's a simple thing that happens almost every night. Neighbors getting into it over a party, loud music. I've had it happen when I lived on Pico Boulevard, and I had this redheaded old woman who was just the biggest bigot. I can't count the many times she called me the N-word. And I remember, and it's haunted me ever since. It's one of the worst things I've ever said to somebody. I was about 87, 88, so I'm like 25. And I played my music kind of loud. I lived above her, and I would dance and stuff by myself. And even with my girlfriend, Bernadine, we would dance and things. And she would get her mop and bang on the thing. And so finally she came upstairs one day and knocked on the door and just said, "I've had it. I'm calling the thing, and I know you're friends with the owner, but I don't care. I'm calling the police rather than just call me every name in the book, you monkey, Negro, and I cleaned that up. And I said, you know, the wonderful thing about you are Miss Lindy. Her name was Mrs. Lindy. That you're about in your 60s. So when I'm your age, you'll be long dead. I've always been like, damn, Ralph, that might have been a bit too much. But she was just a god-awful person. But it happens all the time. Happens all the time. People having swim parties, and the kids are running around screaming and yelling. But this happened late at night, and the neighbor comes over. There's a fight. The police are called. The police separate these two. It starts back up again, and one of the shooter calls the police and says, my neighbor is now banging on my door trying to get in my apartment. Please hurry. I've got a gun, but please hurry. And apparently he must have busted the door in or something, because the man shot him, and now it's been referred to the DA's office, and they've got to make a determination on whether to prosecute this guy. I don't think you can. I've always said, man, I'm too old, man. I can't roll on the ground with somebody. If somebody's trying to break into my house, as soon as that door is compromised, I'm unloading my clip, Jack. I'm unloading my clip. I got about 12 shots in my Michael Jordan, and it's a tragic, horrible story. And it'll be, again, it's early. It happened back on my birthday. Happened on Sunday, August 3rd. And in a pretty nice neighborhood, Roan Drive. Do you know where that is? I think that's the Southwest.
I actually don't know that one.
Does anybody know where that is? But I don't think you can prosecute this guy. I really don't. I really, really don't. We'll see. We'll find out in a couple of days when the DA's office makes a determination. But you can't come on somebody's property, and if they feel threatened, and I should have asked the judge while she was still here, and you got to discipline me. We spent about 10 minutes shooting the crap with her every time. And every time I say, I'm not going to chew the fat with her. And I'm telling stories about my aunts and my dad and Hilton Head. Nobody wants to hear that. And I got time to say that later. I got Teresa Goldner sitting here. Get to it, Bailey. That's what you should give me come on, Ralph, get to it. You know I get mad, but
no. I've tried to do that in the past, and you look at me like, excuse me? I'm like, you want for me, dude?
Well, at least I confessed. I'd probably get mad, but regardless. All right, bottom of the hour. We got a couple of things we're going to get to. I got to get to Janine Pirro. She went off today. We'll get into the stats that kind of counter what the liberal media was trying to put out yesterday. Everything's fine in D.C. Oh, the crime rate is down. Oh, everything's great. We don't need the National Guard. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. Again, I was gone last week, so excuse me for talking about old news, but the city council is about to vote on whether to change 8th Street to Cesar Chavez Street. I'll have some thoughts on that. And when we get into 5, we'll talk more about Ethan Nineker. The Target shooter killed 3 people, a 4-year-old and her grandfather, and a Target store employee. That's coming up. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Workers were heating coal and preparing for routine maintenance when an explosion rocked the U.S. Steel plant outside Pittsburgh. That's according to a company executive who spoke to reporters on Tuesday, a day after the blast killed 2 workers. The explosion was powerful enough to shake nearby homes. It also injured more than 10 other steel workers, including one who spent hours trapped in the rubble. U.S. inflation was unchanged in July as rising prices for some imported goods were balanced by falling gas and grocery prices, leaving overall prices modestly higher than a year ago. The figures suggest that slowing rent increases and cheaper gas are offsetting some impact of President Trump's sweeping tariffs. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The city of Bakersfield is considering a proposal to issue a grant in the amount of $300,000 for the Dolores Huerta Foundation's Downtown Cultural Center. Ward 2 City Council member Andre Gonzalez says that they're making targeted and strategic investments to help the community and see long-term revitalization of downtown. The Gifford Fire has burned over 190 square miles in Central California across San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties. As of today, it has grown to 122,065 acres. Highway 166 is still closed northeast of Santa Maria from Highway 101 to State Route 33. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom.
Big night
with
tonight.
news every half hour or when it breaks.
Love and Hip
News
Hop
Talk
Atlanta.
96.1 and
And
AM 1180
episode
KERN.
2
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Marilyn Bull.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Bull. I heard of Paul Sheldon through my husband. So when I retired, I decided
And
I'm going to go to
see
him
Superman
too.
tonight?
And I'm very pleased. The experience with Paul Sheldon has been great. Every question you asked, he had
I
an
tried to
answer
like it.
for.
I really
He was
did.
patient
I've been
and
waiting all summer
explained
for it.
everything to where you could understand it. So I'm glad I had him to go to because otherwise I would.
See, I didn't even get
I would
that.
recommend Paul Sheldon to
I didn't
anybody
even get
because it is
that.
so much easier to go there and have someone actually show you and explain to you what your options are. And when you leave
Yeah, but
there,
I didn't
if
read
you
any
still
immigration
didn't
thing in
quite
it.
understand, you can always call and even make an appointment with you and rediscuss the whole thing. I also have recommended it to my sister. Thank you, Paul Sheldon, for
I mean,
all
that
your
is a
help,
stupid
and
thing to
I
say.
wouldn't
No, you're
know what to
not.
do without you.
When
Fucking
Medicare
Krypton.
matters, our team
What
has
are you
the
doing?
answers. Team Paul
And I could
Sheldon.
shoot you in the face and you'd be fine. What do you call yourself?
It's the JR Show. So it appears, at least according to the agenda, that the city council is going to open up the discussion to change the city charter so they can give themselves raises. Now, they can't just vote to change the charter or vote to give themselves a raise. They have to put that before the people on a ballot. Well, good luck with that, because half of y'all don't even deserve to get paid. Matter of fact, y'all owe us some money.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.
Of Washington residents think that the crime rate is extremely serious. 30% think it's very serious. 41% say it's moderately serious. So at least 50% of the Washington, D.C., that's according to a CNN poll, think it's very serious. A Washington Post poll says that 65% of the residents think that it's very, very serious. And let me make this clear for folks that are contemplating sending their father or their grandfather on honor flight. That's a whole different deal. Yes, DC is dangerous, but those guys are back in the hotel by 6 o'clock, first of all. Second of all, we are in a bus with a very large group of men and women, and we are up early. 7 a.m. is when this thing starts, or actually at 6 a.m. is breakfast. 7 a.m. we're in the bus on our way to the first memorial. And again, they're back in their Virginia hotel by 6 o'clock in the evening. And we go to very, very visible, very high security areas. The World War II memorial. Every single memorial that we go to is big security. We're not going to the Southwest. We're not going to the Southeast. Those are the traditional ghettos of DC. And yes, they are very close to the White House. It is, the story I've told you yesterday and I've told many times about my best friend's secretary whose son had his head blown off because he picked up a fake phone back in the 80s that was the gang phone in the neighborhood. They said that, Skelly told me that was about 3 blocks from the White House. DC is a very scary area, but there is no safety factor for the veterans at all. But it is the most dangerous capital in the world. Per capita, per 100,000, if DC were, if liberals could have their way and DC was a state, per capita, they would lead the nation in murders. It's August, they've got 100 murders already. And they want to convince you that murder's just, the murder rate is coming down and everything's fine in DC. Well, it's not. Here is U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro.
Why a judge gave a 19-year-old 2-3 weeks ago, and I wrote an op-ed piece, gave a 19-year-old probation, and I understand it's 2 years probation to go to college with no mandate, for getting on a public bus with an illegal gun, shooting an individual in the chest, which to me is intent to kill. And he walked away after we convicted him. He walked away with no jail time. If that's what you want in this district, then I'm the wrong person to be United States Attorney.
No, you're exactly what we need to be the U.S. Attorney. We need somebody with judge experience, as she has, and who's a badass. You can tell just from her attitude. But I watch her, or I used to watch her every day on the 5. She is a badass. We've had her on the show. She's friends with Kathy. We've had her on the show once. I'm not sure if I interviewed her or whether Kathy had her on once when Kathy was.
I think both of you did.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I did interview her once, and then I think Kathy had her on.
Yeah,
when I was
she
gone.
subbed in one time.
But she's a badass. She really is. She was the smartest one on the panel show, the 5, by far. And now she's going to make a great U.S. attorney. And she's right. We've got to change the laws. Now it's up to Mike Johnson. We've got to change the juvenile laws. These gangbangers, these thugs, these mobs have figured it out. That the OGs, as they call them, the kids over 25, grown-ass men, 25, 35, 40 years old, running the show, get the teenagers to commit the crimes because, as she just pointed out, just recently in D.C., a 19-year-old shoots somebody in the chest and doesn't do any jail time? Like, how is that possible? How is that possible? We'll talk about this some more when we get into the 5 in terms of people's rap sheets and so-called justice, because this Ethan Nineker, this Target shooter, and I don't mean, aiming, I mean, he shot people at a Target store, so they've deemed him the Target shooter. This kid had a rap sheet longer than your femur, the longest, biggest bone in your body. And they were all violent. It wasn't like they were petty antic things. He was caught up for assault, family violence, criminal mischief, DUI, possession of weed, threats with a knife. And some of them got dismissed. Some of them got probation. Some of them got community service. And then I started thinking about my nephew. Because as loyal or longtime listeners know, I honestly believed in my heart. my nephew was going to go this route. He was either going to become a gang member, take his own life, or just absolutely give up, become a wanton criminal or something, because he witnessed his mother's death. He went to live with my other sister, who is not a very good person, I hate to have to say. And it just was a horrendous situation. And then there was the debate between my mother and I, whether we'd come up here and try to get him in a Garces, or whether at 76, 77 years old back then, would my mother take over? And he was getting Fs. I'd never seen that. Was the laziest student she ever saw, and I could get C's and B's. So to see somebody in my family getting Fs was like, I couldn't get my brain around that. Because as my dad used to say, and is absolutely accurate, you got to try to get an F. You got to go out of your way to fail. Because if you give a damn and just even talk to the teacher if you're failing and show some interest in not failing, most teachers will give you a D. And my nephew was getting Fs across the board. And I was like, he's lost. Ain't nothing we can do. And thank God for Harriet Bailey. Thank God for Harriet Bailey. And I should have known if she could get me educated, she could get anybody educated. And now my nephew's entering his second year at the school in Pasadena. But it's so easy to lose these kids. It's so simple. And when I thought about my nephew, I thought, what if he went that route? What if he was reaching out like this kid, what we'll talk about later, Ethan Heinecker, who was reaching out, who admitted that he was a drunk and that he's sorry that he hurt the people that he was hurting at the time. And this was years ago. This wasn't recently when he shot up the Target store. This was years ago. This kid reached out. What do you do with someone like that? And I thought about that. What would we do with Thaddeus if he had continued to go down this road, or if he had mental issues? Because this kid, Heinecker, and this is what I don't understand, we always see this, had a history of mental issues. So then when you find out a kid is lost himself, lost his mental issues, his mental capacity, his mental faculties, what do? And that's why I believe that we have got to go back to state hospitals. We've got to go back to that where it's habeas corpus at 72 hours, you can hold them without their permission. And then after 72 hours, you have to get a panel of doctors to say that this person is either going to hurt themselves or some other person. And then I think we've got to put these people in mental hospitals. We absolutely have to put these people in mental hospitals. I throw them in jail, and then they get tougher and harder and more bitter and come out 5, 7, 10 years later, even angrier, even more unemployable. I think that, we do know that the older you get, the less violent you get. This Heinecker kid is 32. A good 10, 15-year stint in a state hospital might do him some good. But we have to get tough on crime. We talk such a good game. And then finally, when we get a leader who wants to dramatically do something about it, the liberal media and the woke movement steps up and says, everything's fine. What are you talking about? Crime is falling. Well, good. Let's continue the momentum. Let's put FBI agents to patrol DC at night. Let's put the National Guard. Nothing scares these punks more than the presence of police. How do you think we got the phrase 5-0? Because that's what these kids, it's 5-0, let's go, let's get out of here. Nothing scares these punks. These aren't brave young men. These aren't soldiers. These aren't disciplined young teenagers. These are, as Janine Pirro said yesterday, accurately, punks that need this gang lifestyle as their false courage. You can't mess with me. I'm a Hoover Street Crip. Who gives a damn? By yourself, you're nothing but a skinny punk in a white t-shirt and jeans hanging off your ass. But with your 12 gangbangers and their 9s, you're a brave son of a gun, aren't you? It's about time, particularly on a federal level, that we get serious about crime and do something about these punks, these gangs. And what started is the crime that's going on in DC. Maybe not the numbers, but the type of crimes. And I've talked about this before. As long as crime stays in the pockets of communities that it's supposed to be in, or at least it's perceived where that happens in the Northeast. That's where it's supposed to happen. But it happens in Edwards. If it happens at the marketplace, this whole city goes nuts. Shoot, wait a second now. That's near my Seven Oaks home. Wait a minute, that's near my Hagen Oaks home. And it's on the front page of the paper. But if it happens out in the Northeast, well, that just happens out there. That's just part of living in Bakersfield. We talk a good game, but are we truly serious about stopping crime? I'm just not sure. Let's go ahead and take a break. We come back. We'll get into the target shooter, Ethan Neineker's life, coming up in the 5. I've got some crazy miscellaneous news and notes I'm going to pop on you. I told you about Greg Gutfeld going on Jimmy Fallon. Tell you more about that. And I've got some other things down here that I can't make out in my notes, but I'll figure it out during the break. Try to give that to you. And we'll check the board, see what you guys are talking about. 842-5376, 842-KERN. And guess who we'll get into this at the bottom of the hour in the 5. Guess who got the most reps at Cleveland Brown practice yesterday?
I believe his dad is a Hall of Famer.
Joe Flacco's dad was a Hall of Famer?
Oh.
No, you're absolutely right. Shedeur Sanders, of course. I'm just saying.
Did you see Shiloh?
10 of 14 for 2 touchdowns.
Did you see Shiloh gave his game-worn jersey to his mom?
I saw that. That was a cool clip.
That was awesome.
I wish she had why did she not get in the video?
I have no idea.
She's a beautiful woman. Pilar? Dion's third wife? Second wife?
Second wife.
Because that's...
Deion Jr.'s mom's not the same lady.
Yeah, the firstborn, the boy that's not the athlete, was from the first wife. And the girl and Shiloh and Shedeur are from Pilar.
Second wife.
Yeah, and then Tracy, the TV star, he didn't have kids with her.
No.
Were they married?
No, they were never married either.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Tuesday. Right here on News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN. We're streaming live, kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Wednesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the absolute latest in the ongoing battle surrounding Trump deciding to save way more people's lives in Washington, D.C. Democrats are outraged. We will also break down the absolute latest on the ongoing Texas redistricting battle. Senator John Cornyn's going to join us. All that and more on the Wednesday edition. Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Look who's here. It's the Valpredo family from Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. Gino, I know everything begins with your incredible staff and your familial atmosphere.
I love what we have at Luigi's, and I love everybody that works there, and we're all like family, and then our customers are like family, so it's all one great place.
And Lynette, I know your passion is the delicatessen.
What I love about it is that when you have lunch in the restaurant, you can go next door into our deli and buy anything that's on our menu. Our best sellers are the pasta sauce, Luigi seasoning, freshly sliced meats and cheeses, specialty food items, and of course my passion, our wine shop. To see plenty of details and all the happiness at Luigi's, go to our social media at Shop Luigi's on Facebook or Luigi's Bakersfield on Instagram.
Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, where friends meet.
You've used KV Print and Bakersfield signs for all your print marketing products throughout time. Why? Because we've been doing it right for over 35 years. And now KV Print and Bakersfield Signs are excited to unveil our brand new 10,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility. At KV Print and Bakersfield Signs, we don't just print, we help bring your brand to life. From vibrant brochures and business cards to custom vehicle wraps to branded company apparel and eye-catching storefront signage. KV Print and Bakersfield Signs provides high-quality marketing materials that get you noticed. Whether you're promoting a new product, outfitting your team, or turning your vehicle into a branding machine for your business, we've got you covered with fast turnarounds, great prices, and the personalized local service you deserve. Are you ready to stand out? Visit kvprint.com or call 661-327-1772 today for a free quote. KV Print and Bakersfield Signs, your brand, your style, our print.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. So don't wait. For this free information, call 800-422-8552. 800-422-8552. That's 800-422-8552. Not available in all states. Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I was meant too easily. So I was doing something close to nothing, but different from the day before. That's when I saw her. Ooh, I saw her. She walked into the outdoor. She wore a raspberry beret. Kind you find in a secondhand store. Raspberry beret. If you think all she would wear once more, a raspberry beret. I think I love her. 842-5376-842-KRN. You know, I never saw Prince live. Never. Little tiny man. But I had a girlfriend who was absolutely insanely crazy, stupid, freaky, weird. She drove from Atlanta to Nashville and came home the same night to see Prince. And the Atlanta-Nashville drive is about, my memory is bad, about 8 or 9 hours. That's a nice little drive. Let me see. Hey, Siri, what's the driving distance between Nashville and Atlanta?
Atlanta, Georgia is about 247 miles from Nashville, Tennessee by car.
Oh, it's only 4 hours. It's like going, I guess it's like running to Vegas and running back. In the same night, though?
That's a lot of
It
time.
was her and the girls. It was 4 of it. It was Rhonda, Millicent, Mikkel, and June Gray, who I would also, never mind. I was a despicable 20-year-old, all throughout my 20s. I was a despicable, god-awful human being. I was plucking off my girlfriend's friends. It was horrible. But in your 20s, you get away with it. Yeah, they drove there and saw him in Nashville, turned around that same night, got home at like 4 o'clock in the morning. And from what I understand, they still talk about it in their 60s. 842-5376-842-KERN. So what's everybody thinking about this changing of 8th Street to
Chavez Street. They thought about changing Union Avenue. They thought about Mount Vernon. And they also thought about Monitor Street. I don't know where Monitor Street is, but it was Miss Core who insisted on 8, saying that it was the most central to the city's core. No pun intended. Well, maybe a little bit. But I mean, we're basically a Latino community. We need to start facing that fact. And if the businesses aren't upset about having to change their address and their advertising, I mean, think about what all the local businesses along 8th Street have to do now if they go ahead with this thing. You got to change. If you've got advertising running on 17 or on any of the American General Media stations, you got to change all that. You got to go through change of address. I don't know how much it's going to cost to change the street signs. That shouldn't be that much. But it just seems, don't Sleepy, Dopey, and Doc and the other members of the city council have better things to do? This city is in turmoil. It really is. Behind the scenes, it's in turmoil. We don't know how the hell we're paying for things. We don't know how the hell we're going to pay for things in the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the oil industry. The governor's trying to put us out of business. These people are worrying about street signs. That's what our city council is about to vote on. Well, I'm glad that's what they're working on. I'm really, really happy about that. I don't give a damn what they name the street. It's the priorities of our city council and the pandering that goes on so that they can skip to the next gig. That's all this is about. This is about, I can say this on my campaign when I run for assembly or state senator or supervisor. I can be the champion of the Latino community. Give me a break. And it's so transparent. It is so freaking transparent because anybody with any history of this community, growing up as a liberal in Los Angeles, I grew up believing that Cesar Chavez was an absolute hero. I thought he was the Latino Martin Luther King Jr. I, in fact, met the man when I was interning at CNN. I was just carrying a camera, but I was in the room when the CNN reporter interviewed him. Seemed like a decent man, but in this community, he is a controversial figure. That's the reality. White folks in this community, particularly farmers, not that big a fan. So why make this a priority? Why now? Why now? With all that's going on in the city, we're trying to fund things. We're trying to get water. We're trying to do sewage. We're trying to do all these things. Why now? Just concentrate on making our lives better, making us safer. Get a hold of the pension problems. Get a hold of the money issues that we have. Take care of us. Give a damn about some damn street name. Really? Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work, because that improves my life. Chris, your life certainly will be improved once we name it Cesar Chavez Street. Everybody, Latinos' lives will. It lifts all boats, right? No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. The only thing it does is makes businesses have to change all their advertising, all their literature, all their stationery, everything. But that's a priority of Sleepy, Dopey, Doc, and the rest of that nitwit crew we call the Bakersfield City Council. Good. Googly moogly. Heading into the 5, we'll talk about the target shooter, Ethan Nineker, a 32-year-old man who shot a 4-year-old, her grandfather, and a Target staffer just collecting carts in the parking lot. Quick timeout. It's TRBS. It's a Ralph Bailey show. I would stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A suspect in a deadly shooting at a Target store in Texas that killed 3 is in custody.
Police say the gunman at a Target store in Austin, Texas, fired randomly
So I
and had
found
a
out
history
why
of mental illness. Police Chief Lisa
my
Davis says Ethan Nineker killed a Target
Uber
worker,
at
then
Uber
opened
Eats
fire on a
works.
grandfather and his granddaughter before
That's directly
stealing their
routed into my
SUV.
account.
Innocent lives were taken in broad daylight
Yeah,
in a place where people should feel
directly into
safe
my
to run their everyday errands
So
and
they
to live
don't
their
even
everyday
go into
lives.
my
Davis says
card
Nineker had a history of
based on
mental
my
health
routing.
problems, but she was unaware of
I'm
any
good.
specific diagnosis. Audio
I
from
think my Apple Pay is
KBUE. Court records show Nineker had a history of arrest for domestic violence and assault. I'm Ed Donahue.
A former Israeli ambassador to the U.S. says it's nearly impossible for Israel to negotiate a peaceful settlement with Hamas. Bob Agnew reports.
Dr. Michael Oren says many favor a simple approach in which Israel would pull out of Gaza in exchange for the hostages.
Hamas is never going to give us back all the hostages.
That's because, in Oren's words, Hamas is evil but not stupid.
And they know that the minute they give us back.
You're reporting.
Workers were heating coal and preparing for routine rock the U.S. steel plant outside Pittsburgh.
Is that where
That's according to a company executive who spoke to reporters on Tuesday, a day after the blast killed 2. The explosion was powerful enough to shake nearby homes. Street out by 483 points. The Nasdaq rose 296. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist. Studio. I listen to the radio all day. I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor, and I've got pain in my neck, and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. Got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today, only $19.95.
Everybody is keeping an eye on the Fed and how an interest rate cut might affect gold prices. Gold has been hovering at around $3,400 an ounce for the last 2 months and is poised for dramatic growth with the next cut. If you have a qualified IRA or 401k, you could receive up to $10,000 gold and silver when you open your retirement account with Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 now or visit AdvantageGold.com and get your free Gold IRA guide. Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions. Call 800-900-8000.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1
Yeah, but they're expensive.
AM
It's
1180
like they give you like a
I'm
coupon
Bill
for
Robbins.
40
The
bucks
city
or
of
more.
Bakersfield is considering a proposal to issue a grant in the amount of $300,000 for the Dolores Huerta Foundation's Downtown Cultural Center. The 2 City Council member Andre Gonzalez says that they're making targeted and strategic investments to help the community and see long-term revitalization of downtown even beyond the next 2 to 10 years from now. The Gifford Fire has burned over 190 square miles in Central California across San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties. The fire broke out in the Los Padres National Forest on August 1st. As of today, it has grown to 122,065 acres. Highway 166 is still closed northeast of Santa Maria from Highway 101 to State Route 33. The fire is about 33% contained. The cause is being investigated. An ATV crash leaves 1 adult dead. It happened Sunday night in northeast Bakersfield. Officers were called to the fields just south of the 11,000 block of Highway 178. Crews had to put out the grass fire that started because of the crash. According to BPD, 1 adult died in the crash. 2 others were ejected from the ATV. They had minor to moderate injuries and were taken to Kern Medical. A 16-year-old girl was killed after a 2-vehicle crash. It happened at around 6 o'clock Sunday evening in the 4400 block of Union Avenue. Bakersfield police say a Jeep was heading west on Panorama Drive when it crossed into the northbound lane of Union Avenue, colliding with a Hyundai. A 16-year-old passenger of the Hyundai was badly hurt. Despite life-saving efforts, she did not survive. Police believe the crash was caused by speed and drug intoxication. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 12th day of August. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Big Dog text me, Mike Parrott. Nice peachy outfit. Thank you. I thought you guys, I wrote on Facebook, I bet I could make you smile if you're old and you remember carrying a peach tree. He says, Dodgers will be fine. We'll sweep the Padres. Have faith, my brother. Because, you know, after these next two with the Freeway Series with the Angels, we go to San Diego for 3. Then we go to Colorado. No, I think we come home. We might go to, well, we play Colorado. We go to I know we go to San Diego after this. And then we either are in LA or in Colorado, but we play the Rockies for 3. And then we get San Diego at home for 3. So within the next 2 weeks, we got 6 games against the Padres, a game up in the National League West. We were up 9 a month ago, up 1. And of course, as everyone expected, the god-awful, stinky, smelly, dope-smoking, PD taking, got a little booty in them, donkey riding, kazoo playing, orange and black wearing Giants are fading away. They're 9 games out. There'll be 10 by the end of the night. They're just fading away, as the orange and black likes to do. Fading away on Frisco Bay. Bye-bye, Giants. Bye-bye. Oh, I love that the Leary family is just miserable. Tony Tarango, my dear friend, local dentist and overall good egg, who just turned 88. Belated happy birthday, Tony. He's miserable. We're going to give Turnip Seed the business when he comes in here on Thursday. It's so pleasant when the Giants fail. 842-5376, 842-KERN. And again, I've been gone for a week, so excuse me if I'm a little bit behind on some these national news stories that I'm getting into. Oh, by the way, I told you yesterday that Jimmy Fallon had Greg Gutfeld on his show yesterday.
Or 2 days ago, but yeah.
2 days ago. Highest rating of the season.
Really?
1.7 million viewers. Doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that tell these guys something? Half the country, this is a conservative country. Yes, there are states like California, but overall, this is a conservative country. I've tried to convince my mother for years, Mom, you're a Republican. You're a Republican on just about every single issue. Mom, how do you feel about abortion? Boy, you know I'm Catholic. You know I don't believe in abortion. What's the matter with you? No, I'm saved. What's the matter with you? Or how do you feel about police? You know your cousin Sam was a lieutenant of the police department. You know I'm a strong defender of the police. I don't even know why you're bringing this up. What do you think about gay marriage, Mom? Ralph, are you testing me? You know I'm against gay marriage. Mom, you're out of step with the Democratic Party. You're out of step. You're a Republican. You don't even know it. And I think there are a lot of black folks that deep in their heart believe in the very same things that Republicans believe. They really do. But they just cannot conceive themselves as Republicans. I certainly never could conceive myself. When I was 30 years old and moved to Bakersfield, do you really think I thought one day I'd be a Republican? If you had asked me that day I arrived in this community,
I would have been like, you have lost your mind. I remember the first time I realized I was living in a conservative community. I got into an argument with Mike Trahi in the newsroom. We were both working at Channel 23, and we were talking about racial profiling. And I went off, and Trahi went off on me. And I was like, well, he's an old man. What does he know? And to a person, the reporters in the room were all on Trahi's side. Ralph, is it really racial profiling if the black folks are the ones committing the crime? Yes! You're just going to stop people? You're going to stop Desmond Tutu? You're going to stop Bill Cosby? Okay, bad example, but you know where I'm going with this. What are you talking about? And that was, I swear to you, that was the first day. And I've been here 2 years of college, a year at the Californian, and maybe a year there. So I've been here 4 years. I was about 34, 35 years old. And I was like, I am living in a conservative community. I really had no idea. I really didn't. And if you had told me then that I'd be a Republican, but Ronald Reagan was right. I didn't drastically change. I really didn't. I'm the same knucklehead I was at 35, other than drinking myself to death and running around chasing women every single night. But the party has so incredibly, radically changed. They're at a 32% approval rating right now. And they are just on the wrong side of everything that I believe. I just can't imagine a parent, someone who has had children and is now a teacher and truly believes in their heart that they should keep things from the biological parents of the students that they teach. In other words, if Chris Burdick comes to social studies teacher Ralph Bailey and says, Mr. Bailey, I want to be a girl. To me, my first responsibility is to ask the young man, have you talked about this with your parents? No. Well, I strongly suggest you do, because it's almost my obligation to tell them this. But it's the opposite. The woke movement is like, well, this 10-year-old deserves his privacy. And like, no, they do not. As long as you are under the house, under the roof of those two people, they call the shots. When you're 18, you go do whatever you want. You take any kind of pill that'll change your body, you do any kind of surgery. But as long as you are in our house, you are our child, and we make the call, not your social studies teacher. Can you imagine finding out 2-3 years later that your child had been going through this and your public school teachers have been keeping it from you? Can you imagine? Randy, down the hall, who I talked to, has a daughter who's a young athlete. She's what? What's Randy's daughter? 10, 11?
I think so, yeah.
So now she's 14, and she's got to get dressed in the same locker room with a biological boy who happens to identify as a woman? Really? That's 80-20. That's 80-20. And the party has, I mean, you know what the word in DC is? Go Jasmine Crockett. Go AOC. New York. Elect, what is his name? Mamdi? Zoran Mamdi? Go right ahead. Yes. Further yourself. Create a bigger gap in this country between normal citizens and this incredible woke movement that wants to fight the president of the United States, who wants to dismiss people who are here illegally being the key word, and go after criminals again being the key word in the sentence, in the nation's capital, and clean it up. They're going to fight that. Okay, well, you go right ahead. Let's see how that works out for you. Let's take a break and come back and talk about Ethan Nineker, the young man who shot 3 people at a Target, led police on a chase, and then was found buck naked holding a Bible, claiming that he was Jesus Christ. That was one of my funny bits that I stole from Cosby when I hosted our talent show my senior year with Michael Whitehorn. We'd go on and be executive producer of King of Queens. When I was growing up, I thought my name was Jesus Christ. And my sister thought her name was God Doggett. Because my dad would come home and I'd say, Dad, I need something. He'd say, Jesus Christ, what do you need now? And then one day my sister was out in the rain and he was like, Jesus Christ, get in here. And my sister was like, I'm not Jesus Christ, Dad, I'm God Doggett. It killed in 1979, I'll tell you that. Y'all can smirk if you want to. I killed Chris for 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday, killed. And I was absolutely convinced I'm getting into entertainment. I'm getting in the entertainment business. I'm going to be Denzel. And I went to Gil Cates, David Cates' dad, who at the time was the president of the Screen Actors, the Directors Guild. And I said, Mr. Cates, you saw me on stage. I've got a vibrant personality. I can memorize lines. What do you think of me becoming an actor? And he said, Ralph, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. You will fail. You talking to me? I said, yes, you will fail. He said the unemployment rate for actors, period, is 82%. This is 1980. And the unemployment rate for black actors is 96%. You will not succeed, son. And at this time, the only black actors were Bill Cosby, Sidney Poitier, and Harry Belafonte. There was no Denzel in 1980. There was no Samuel L. Jackson. He had just finished at Morehouse. There was no Spike Lee. He was still matriculating at Morehouse. But I thought for sure I was going to be a star. My name up in lights. I don't even have my name up in lights here in the damn studio. Chris puts on the damn current radio thing. I'll just do not change it. I'm just messing with you.
You want the picture up
No,
there?
I don't want the picture. I don't want the picture up there. Quick time out. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Big Lights on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, what is Vlad Putin's strategy going into the Friday summit with Trump talking about Ukraine? Plus, have you ever thought it's weird that all the young Marxists are really into Palestinian rights? What's the connection there? We'll explain the so-called Red-Green Alliance to you and handle the news of the day, of course, on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Network. You probably heard me talk about Adaptive Network for the last couple of months. We've teamed up with them because IT is our business. And when it goes down, we're out of business. And if you're a business owner that's been listening and you're thinking, maybe I need to join AGM and get better IT, what should you do? Well, the first thing I do is take an absolutely free security assessment. Call Adaptive Networks today at 241-0638. Don't wait until it's too late. By the time a business realizes their IT is bad, they're usually already in crisis. Adaptive Network makes it simple, no jargon, just absolute results. And they're there to help. They're local, responsive, and security focused. Again, call today at 241-0638. Adaptive Network, your IT partner in Bakersfield, making it simple, stable, and secure.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
You guys do make one good point.
No one can touch us.
You should be listening to our advertising.
Prices. Shop and compare.
And not to me.
We don't care. Take a look our way.
That is a good point.
And come into Carpet Outlet.
You should be listening to Carpet Outlet instead
Every day is sale day.
Oh no, Dad, I spilled juice on the carpet.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from Carpet Outlet Plus.
Dad, look, he dumped his water bowl all over the new floors.
Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need for family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now offering 1 year, no interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Every day, Dave spends $5 on.
One ultra latte with a caramel drizzle?
But for less than $1 a day, he could protect his family with a $500,000 life insurance policy from SelectQuote. And for about the same $15 a month he spends on.
Honey, what's our password to Streamflix?
He could have a life policy from SelectQuote. But when his wife asked him,
Honey, have you looked into life insurance yet?
Dave said,
Whoa, how are we going to afford life insurance?
if only Dave knew that SelectQuote could find him a policy for up to 50% less than he's found online. That's about the same amount as one of his streaming subscriptions. SelectQuote is a broker. They know which carrier has the right policy for Dave's situation. So he'll have money left over for
A karaoke machine with auto-tune.
I'm canceling your credit card.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get your free quote now at SelectQuote.com or call 800-341-6060. That's 800-341-6060. Details and example rate at SelectQuote.com.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
I just got a post on Fox that is sad and is somewhat related to my family. Danielle Spencer, for those old enough to remember, who played Dee on What's Happening. And for the Caucasian members of our audience, What's Happening was a Black syndicated show that focused on a Black family and a man by the name of Rerun. You may remember him. He was a fat guy that danced. And the connection to my family, Danielle Spencer died at the age of 60. But when she was a child and she played a child on the show, and this is the God's honest truth, I'm not making this up. She was, or I should say, my sister, my living sister, Patrice, is a dead ringer when they were kids for this woman. Like, I could get my mom on the phone right now and say, Mom, how many times would we go to dinner and somebody would come up to our table and ask Patrice for an autograph, thinking that she was Danielle Spencer? It happened at least a dozen times. And other times we'd be in airports and people would be pointing at us. And finally somebody would come over and say, are you Dee from What's Happening? And the whole family would almost in unison be like, no. And have you ever been confused for a celebrity? I'm guessing not.
Not really.
I have.
Really?
When I was younger, I used to get, and you don't remember, Dennis Johnson, which I couldn't understand because I was 5'11", and Johnson was like 6'3", 6'4". He was a good shooting guard for Seattle. He won a championship with Seattle when he was in his prime. At the end of his career, he's part of that '86 Celtic team, which Larry Bird said was the best Celtic team he ever played on. And he died a young man, Dennis Johnson. He was coaching in the CBA, and I'll never forget this because, again, and the reason, I don't look anything like the guy. But can you guess, looking at my face, why they thought I looked like him?
Nose?
Freckles.
Ah.
He had freckles. Ain't a lot of brothers with freckles. And he was my complexion, and we cut our hair the same. I could kind of see the semblance, but not really, because he was ugly, first of all. That's why I was like, I don't look like Dennis Johnson. What's the matter with you? DJ? Hell of a player, but an oogly mofo, and that ain't Ralph Bailey.
No, you guys don't look anything alike.
You pulled him up?
Yeah.
Thank you. But
you're right though. Same complexion, same like
freckles.
The hair and stuff. Absolutely.
And his freckles are more prevalent than mine, really, aren't they? Can you see it in the picture? You probably can't see him in the picture.
No, and this one I could see right here. It's pretty prevalent. You could see him.
Yeah. Well, I got it all the time in my late teens and early 20s. Got it all the time.
Yeah, but you guys face wise look nothing alike.
Nothing alike. But he died. He was, I think, coaching down in San Antonio, and he had taken his wife's car to practice, and he had his own parking spot for Coach Johnson. And they had put a boot on it because they didn't recognize the car. And he was coming out with two of his coaches, and they're like, "Look, Coach, they put a boot on your car because it's your wife's." And they said his head went back to laugh. He went like this. Ha, ha, ha. And collapsed. And was dead before he hit the ground. That kind of thing scares me too. You have no idea the many times I'm laying in bed and I get like a sudden pain in my chest. And it's like, what if that is the heart attack? They're going to find me at like 3:40 on Monday. You know, it's my biggest fear living alone. It's just that if anything goes wrong, I've always, I'm so old. I shouldn't even say this out loud. I'm really thinking about getting one of those monitors. Are you laughing at me? That's right. I've fallen and I can't get up. I've thought about it.
Sorry, I took a bite at the same time, but yes, I am laughing at you.
I've thought about it, man. I really have.
No, but honestly.
Hey, you know what else? What I did recently? I think it was on my vacation. Choking on a piece of meat.
Really?
And I was like, and it barely went down. I mean, I was walking through the hallway to go upstairs and knock on my neighbor's door or something. And it got stuck like right here. And I panicked. And I got up and I was going to go to a chair and try to do the chair thing. You're supposed to go to a chair and pour yourself on it and try to make yourself kick it open like that. And I was like, no, I'm just going to run upstairs and just hope somebody can do the Heimlich on me. And I barely went down. I was like, damn, that was close.
No, that's what I was just about to say. Like, technically, although I was laughing at you at first, that is the smart thing to do, especially since you do live alone. Like having one of those I have fallen and cannot get up things.
I thought about it, man. I really have. God dang it. I have not talked about Ethan Nineker, and I have no time now. Let's read a couple of text messages, then we'll get into Ethan at the bottom of the hour.
Rob, you can complain all you want about the liberal media, but it was Trump himself back in May bragging about how violent crime was down significantly in D.C. He was lying then, or was he lying then, or did he lose control of the situation at some point since May?
No, I think he was spurred by a shooting last month of a 3-year-old girl. Jeanine Pirro, if you missed her press conference, broke down the 16 murders that have occurred by handgun in the last 8 weeks. And I think the tipping point, to be perfectly blunt, wasn't any stats, wasn't any feeling. It was the Doge employee who tried to interrupt a carjacking. And remember, carjacking isn't even considered a violent crime in D.C. And in fact, the Senate had to stop. This is how incompetent. You talk about our city council being incompetent. This is how incompetent the Washington, D.C. city council is. They tried to pass an ordinance that would reduce maximum penalties for violent crimes, including carjacking. And Biden signed it. Well, in an 81-14 vote, the Senate stopped it. And when I say Biden signed it, well, auto pen. I bet if you asked Joe Biden that today, he'd probably say, I never signed that. Quick time out, last half hour of the broadcast. We'll finally talk about Ethan Nineker, talk a little sports, and then get Sandler out of here. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Howard Marcus is our lone guest. It's TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is hinting that ceasefire efforts are now focused on a comprehensive deal that would release the remaining hostages in Gaza all at once. Arab officials told the Associated Press last week that mediators Egypt and Qatar are preparing a new framework for a deal that would include the release of all hostages in one go in return for a lasting ceasefire and the withdrawal of Israeli forces. Police say a Texas man fatally shot 3 people in a Target parking lot, including a child and her grandfather. The suspect, 32-year-old Ethan Nienaker, allegedly acted unprovoked and chose his victims randomly. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 483 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. A project to expand Highway 99 from 4 to 6 lanes between Delano and Pixley broke ground on Monday. The project will cost around $170 million and cover less than a mile between Cecil Avenue in Delano and Court Street in Pixley. Michael Navarro, District Director of Caltrans District 6, says that safety is always the number one goal. The project is expected to be finished in the fall of 2026. Kern County firefighters had to put out a vegetation fire just east of the Highway 58 Sand Canyon exit in the Tehachapi area. Forward progress of the blaze has been stopped. Crews remained on site through the night in case of any hot spots. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Rod Geis.
Hello, Kern County. This is Rod Geis. My wife and I recently changed our health care coverage to Medicare. We were so fortunate to have found Paul Sheldon. Paul and his associates Kelly, Lynn, and Christine were indispensable in guiding us through the transition. They have comprehensive knowledge and experience in all aspects of insurance, Medicare, and the option. They listened to our questions every time we walked in the door, and they followed up very promptly with the answers we needed. With Paul's help, we made the best decisions for us. The process was painless, and we now have comprehensive medical coverage at a very affordable price. So if you are considering retirement and a change to Medicare coverage, Paul Sheldon Insurance Benefits and Planning is hands down the best place you can go.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298. Wednesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the absolute latest in the ongoing battle surrounding Trump deciding to save way more people's lives in Washington, D.C. Democrats are outraged. We will also break down the absolute latest on the ongoing Texas redistricting battle. Senator John Cornyn's going to join us. All that and more on the Wednesday edition. Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
Guy talking about Ethan, he pronounces it Nienaker. It's spelled Nienaker. I pronounce it Nienaker. It's spelled Nieneker. He's a 32-year-old, I almost said kid. He is a kid to me, but a 32-year-old grown-ass man who was just lost. Before I get into the details, let me just read you something that they found on his Facebook page. And this goes back to, I believe, 2018. This Facebook reference. Here it is. Hang on a second. Did I just lose my producer? He wrote, this is June 18th, 2018. This is the kid that shot 3 people at random. 4-year-old girl, her grandfather, and one of the store attendants was collecting shopping carts in the parking lot 7 years ago. I decided yesterday I'm going to get sober again. As I lay in my bed, sweating and shaking, I would not wish this on the worst of my enemies. Thank you to all of the people who have still been there for me, despite how crappy of a person I have become again. And I had to clean that up. And I'm sorry to anyone that was at the expense of my selfishness. I feel like I can't be myself without imbibing. But in reality, I can't live inside my skin without having a drink. I appreciate all the support to all the people I have reached out to in my drunken stupors, just to put them down when all they want to do is help. I still have a lot to learn and a long way to go. I really hate making posts like this because I'm honestly afraid to tell my family, my peers, my support, but most importantly, myself down. I don't understand why I choose to not do anything about it constantly and revel in my own depression to feel sorry for myself. It is a choice. I'm honestly still lucky to be alive, given I've been really close several times to ending it all. I wish I wasn't like this. This kid was lost for 7 years before he killed people. And, I was going to go off and scream and yell, and, the parents are responsible because they knew this kid was in trouble. He was been an alcoholic for years. And when somebody writes something like that is that revealing and that expressive and that self-deprecating in some respects, opening themselves up and confessing their sins and apologizing to the people that they've hurt, they are reaching out. They are desperate for somebody to come help them. And then I started thinking, well, what could we do? What could we have done for this kid? I don't know his parents. Maybe his parents were great and he has 5 kids and he was the black sheep. I doubt it. I really do. I think good parents produce good children. I think there's always, the baby or the middle child that kind of goes awry. But most good parents produce good children. And this guy just absolutely lost, picked up a gun, went to a target, and just started randomly shooting. As we've talked about all day, as the newsman said, killed a 4-year-old and her grandfather and a kid that was collecting shopping carts in the parking lot. He stole the grandfather's car, led police on a chase, wrecked that, and then somehow got onto a lot, a car lot, and stole a new car. And then was finally brought to justice. They found him buck naked with a Bible. So either the Bible couldn't have been in the new car. He carried the Bible from the shooting to the grandfather's car to the auto mall or dealership that he went to. And then when did he take his clothes off? But that's that's what the story says. They found him buck naked holding a Bible. And as much as I want to feel sorry for him, I just can't. But there's a part of me that has some empathy for this kid who was reaching out, who was like saying, "Help me." And it's a lesson to be learned. It really is. Because we had friends like this. A girl that I dated, Stacy Wagner. And it just never dawned on us. She was bipolar, because this was in the 70s when we really didn't know what bipolar was. There were some days when Stacy was as happy as she could be. And there were some days where she was just like, what is wrong with Stacy? Don't even go up and try to talk to her. And her father was the preeminent plastic surgeon in Los Angeles, and out of Beverly Hills, obviously. And he had stolen some artwork from a very famous sheik that lived in Beverly Hills who was driving the neighborhood crazy. He was living right on Sunset. Some of you may remember the story from the 70s. And he put up all these weird statues and just gaudy stuff in his front yard. He was driving all the white folks crazy, driving them crazy. And again, this guy was from Iran in the 70s. It was before the Shah got overturned in 1980, but drove everybody crazy. And the story was the butler that worked for the Muslim guy, the Iranian guy, came to work for Dr. Wagner. And Wagner was such an idiot. The way he got caught stealing the man's artwork was that his artwork got stolen. I'm not making this up. He reported it stolen. Detectives came to the house, somehow identified the Iranian guy's artwork, and they put the claps on him. And it was a gargantuan story. And of course, going to school in the Valley, there was a Valley edition of the New LA Times. Front page. Well-known plastic surgeon, convicted, waiting for sentencing. And Stacy, he had a gun collection. And Stacy went up into his bedroom, got one of his most beloved guns, and pointed her brains at their bed and shot her brains out. And nobody saw this coming. And the thing that always, she adored her. Her older sister was a year older than we were, and she had a younger brother named Kevin, who was about 5 at the time. And she adored this kid, Kevin. I dated her for like a year, but we were in 8th, 9th grade. It wasn't really dating. It was just phone calls and meeting up at dances and stuff like that. But she just adored this kid. And the only thing that I could never figure out that she would do that and let Allison and Kevin find her, because the dad was in Hawaii waiting for his sentencing. He took the wife, left the kids, and this is what a POS this guy was. And I just couldn't understand how she could let her sister, or even Kevin for that matter, because it was Allison, obviously, who heard the shot, ran upstairs, and there's your sister lying on your parents' bed with her brains sprawled all over. What do you do, though? And I think part of the problem is parents are afraid to try to do anything. I think a lot of parents that have children that have mental issues try to hide it. Oh, he'll be okay. It's just an episode. And you go through so many episodes. I mean, this kid had a rap sheet. He had been arrested and convicted. First of all, they reported that he had a history of mental illness. And like I said, that Facebook entry that I read was from 2018. So he had a long history of mental illness. His rap sheet included assault, 2 different assaults, family violence. He wasn't married, so it wasn't domestic, so he's fighting with his parents or his siblings, criminal mischief, DUI, and possession of narcotics. And nothing could be done to stop this kid. Nothing could be done to prevent him from breaking into his parents' locker, stealing the gun. I believe it was a handgun. I believe it was a pistol, and going up and shooting a 4-year-old. And it wasn't random spray, according to witnesses. He targeted the 4-year-old. She was holding hands with her grandfather, shot him too, and saw the kid collecting the shopping carts, shot him, then stole grandpa's car and drove off. It's unimaginable. It's absolutely unimaginable. But the sad part about it, the real tragic part about it, it's just life in the 21st century. There'll be another one by the end of the weekend. We may not hear about it because it was just 3 or 4. Well, that's just a random everyday shooting. It's got to be 5, 6, 7 to make national news now. We've become so desensitized that these 3 or 4, I mean, in fact, I'm guessing that the only reason this is getting national attention is because a 4-year-old and her grandfather is involved. And that makes it a story. But if it had just been 3 random shoppers, I don't think we would have heard about it. I don't think it would have been that big a story. I really don't. Life in the 21st century. Eight-year-old child tortured here in our community by her parents, killed, allegedly by the parents. And a 4-year-old and her grandfather is dead because this kid just couldn't cope. That's the only reason they're dead, because he couldn't cope. Life in the 21st century. What are you going to do? Let's take our final break of the night. Why do I always do this? End the show on a sour note. I don't know why I always do this. Well, we'll try to end on a much brighter note when we come back. Maybe we'll play the Taylor Swift audio again. I don't know. God, I don't know why I do this. The worst producer in all of radio. Quick timeout. Wrapping this thing up. As I said, tomorrow's Wednesday. Howard Marcus will be with us. Friday, we're going to meet Dylan Brar, Raji Brar's middle child. I'm pretty sure that's right. Local golfer and water polo star. I don't know how you play water polo.
It is so hard.
I don't know how in the world. How do you stay afloat like that for like minutes upon minutes upon minutes upon minutes?
When I tell you I quickly learned I was not made for water-based sports.
You tried it?
First year at Garces, yeah, that we had it. It was my junior or senior year. I can't remember. And I tried it with a couple buddies. And again, I'm going in with no swimming experience, period. Not even like on the swim team. And yeah.
You barely knew how to swim?
Oh, no, I knew how to swim. But like, I mean like, timed with swimming. You know what I mean? Like laps and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
I tried to be a lifeguard my sophomore year in Atlanta. And I got to the port where you have to make a rescue fully clothed with shoes on. And I damn near drowned. And the guy that I was saving damn near drowned me. Because you gotta come up from behind them or they'll panic. And I kind of circled around him. And he saw me and he grabbed me. Because it's supposed to be a drill. But this guy was really like in trouble. And I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I was like, dude, get off me. Wait, I gotta. And we're like, dude, we are drowning. And somebody had to jump in. And I flunked the test. And I was like, I never went back. I don't even know why I told that story. So y'all can go ahead. That stupid idea that black folks can't swim. I swim like a fish. I lived in 2 homes with a pool in it. I can swim like a fish. A goldfish, but a fish nevertheless. Final break of the night. It's TRBS on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, what is Vlad Putin's strategy going into the Friday summit with Trump, talking about Ukraine? Plus, have you ever thought it's weird that all the young Marxists are really into Palestinian rights? What's the connection there? We'll explain the so-called Red-Green Alliance to you and handle the news of the day, of course, on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Come see what's growing at Bowles Nursery. 3255 Allen Road. Bowles Nursery is a full-service nursery and landscaping company, including irrigation installation and repair. If you're currently not getting the water coverage you need to maintain a beautiful yard, come see Bowles Nursery and talk to them about it. While you're there, check out the huge selection of pottery, bulk materials, shade trees, fruit trees, and more. Did you know that right now is the very best time to plant? Come out to Bowles Nursery and take advantage of the everyday savings throughout the nursery. 3255 Allen Road on the corner of Allen and Meacham. Bowles Nursery also carries exquisite water features and one of the largest selections of succulents around. Come see why Bowles.
You want to do your promo now or you want to wait?
You ready? 3, 2. You know, the liberal media tried to flood the television and print markets with all kind of statistics showing that crime is going down in D.C. But the Washington Post asked residents, 65% said our nation's capital is not safe. What Donald Trump is doing is a service to those who actually live in Southwest and Southeast Washington. The ghettos. We got a number, Howard. Whatever happened to Fernando? Was there anything while I was gone? Fernando Horror?
No, not that I've seen updated.
What else is going on? I don't know what else I can tease.
When does Ryder Cup start?
September?
Oh, yeah, we got a month then.
The U.S. Amateurs this weekend. But nobody knows any of the amateurs.
Charlie, but
he didn't qualify.
No?
No. He's still a junior.
Ah. Yeah, we're coming up on 30 seconds anyway,
All right, I'll do it later.
He's found online. That's about the same amount as one of his streaming subscriptions. SelectQuote is a broker. They know which carrier has the right policy for Dave's situation, so he'll have money left over for
A karaoke machine with auto-tune.
I'm canceling your credit card.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get your free quote now at selectquote.com or call 800-341-6060. That's 800-341-6060. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERA.
What are the chances there's another radio talk show host, African American radio talk shows in America, in North America, singing Leonard Skinner on his show? I suggest I am the single, sole, exclusive, only African American radio talk show host in North America who is singing Leonard Skinner on it. Who's singing Frank Sinatra on his show for that matter? Leonard Skinner, Lou Rawls. Nobody's stupid enough to sing on their radio show. 842-5376. What do you got?
Is the Dolores Huerta Foundation also asking for money from the city for their cultural center?
Of course they are. But don't get me involved in that. I don't even want to. Of course they are. And of course, Dolores Huerta is behind the changing of the street, and they're all in favor of it. Okay, fine. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I just don't care. Because it's not like there are priorities that the city has to meet. You know what I'm saying? We got sewage we can't even take care of. We got pensions that we're going to have to pay for 2050 that your grandkids will have to end up paying, and 3 police chiefs that were paying at least $150,000 so that till they die. But we're in good shape. Good shape. What else you got?
Ralph, you said, who are we to decide and then begin deciding which offenses deserve the death penalty?
Yeah, I've told you all. I am completely mixed up and confused and hypocritical, and I'm all over the place with the death penalty. All over the place. You're absolutely right. I'm contradictory. I'm confused. One minute I'm in favor of it, and then the other minute I question it based on my religion or my belief in God. And it goes against every rule in radio. I break every rule in radio. I read stuff. You should not read stuff on radio. I'm not Scott Cox. You shouldn't read stories. That's not radio. That's just reading stories. I sing. I break every freaking rule. I talk to my producer. Go back and remember the Rush Limbaugh show. You could not tell the voice of the producer of the Rush Limbaugh show. But I have just historically, since I first got into radio, make my producer almost a co-host to some degree. I break every freaking rule in this business. But I've been employed for 21 years consecutively on 2 different radio stations. So at this age, why fix it? But you're right. I'm all over the place. And that breaks every rule in radio. One of the first things they tell you is either go this way or go that way. But don't go this way. Don't be all mushy in the middle and, well, I'm kind of for it, but really not. That's the first rule in doing a radio show. Because if you go this way, you're going to piss off this people. And if you go this way, you're going to piss off this people. So you might as well go one way or the other. But if you go this way, the way that you're just criticizing me for, and rightly so, you piss off everybody. What do you mean, Bailey? One minute you say this, and the other minute you say this. If you just say this, at least you got half the audience is going to agree with you, and then you can argue with the other people. But I'm stupid enough to be blunt and honest. I don't know where I stand. I really don't. At the top of the show, I thought those 2 people that killed that 8-year-old girl should die. Now, again, I think about it, and I'm just like, is that our call? I don't know. But you're right. I'm guilty. I stand guilty as charged. What do you got?
If you kill any human being, you should take your life, or we should take your life, except for self-defense. You should go.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah. What else?
Ralph, how you like Kenley Jansen now?
I bet that came from Amber Chang. Who is a huge Angel fan. And when I jokingly was bagging, I wasn't joking about bagging on Tanner Scott, but when I asked for Kenley Jansen to return, Amber Chang was on my Facebook saying, nah, we got him. She's a huge Angels fan and a gargantuan Kings fan. Her and her husband are freaky Kings fans. But, I'm just as freaky. I'm feeling good about this Raider team, Jack. I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning watching that Raider game because of one player. And the only reason I believe in this kid is because there's one intelligent member of the Las Vegas Raider organization. And who is that? Who is the smartest football mind in the Las Vegas Raider organization? This is really easy. You're really overthinking it.
If you say Pete Carroll, I'm going to...
No.
Okay, thank goodness.
Who?
Mark Davis?
Have you gone crazy? Mark Davis?
What are we talking about?
He's the dumbest one in the organization. Who's the most prominent person in our organization?
Max Crosby?
Don't think players.
Tom
Brady. Tom Brady. And Brady's in love with this fourth round kid we got, the quarterback that threw 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Gino, watch out for this kid. I'm telling you, TB loves him. If TB loves him, I love him. For Chris, I'm Ralph. We'll wrap you tomorrow. Yeah, Brady.
AM 1180 KERN.
Brady made them. I didn't get to tell the whole story.
96.1 FM.
But Brady made them. Brady didn't get involved in any of the draft.
Breaking news this hour.
But he made them draft this kid. What's his name? Cam Miller? His name Cam Miller? Hey, Siri. Who is the 3rd round pick for the Raiders at quarterback?
Cam Miller, yeah.
Cam Miller loves this kid. So I heard somebody talking about him. So I said, you know what? I'm going to stay up and watch the 3rd and 4th quarter. And you know who I hate to admit looked decent? Aiden O'Connor. But he ain't the answer. He is not the answer. But I love this kid, Cam Miller, threw 2 touchdown passes in the 4th quarter. And if Brady loves him, I love him.
It's great when you can get excited about preseason football.
I know, because this time last year, I was like, I don't give a doggone about the Raiders. But some folks are saying, I think even, what's his name, said he thinks we could win 10 games. I don't know. They say there's a whole new vibe. Pete Carroll has brought in a whole new vibe in the building. He's the best coach we've had since Gruden.
True.
And Gruden even didn't get to stay that long.
True.
Where am I going? I'm going home. I'm going home. All right, what am I doing tomorrow?
Yeah, just one for tomorrow.
God damn. I don't know what to tease. Does this Swift thing come out tomorrow? The 12th? Yeah. No, today's the 12th.
It comes out tonight
at midnight?
Today or tonight at 12.
All right. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, if it's Wednesday, our former federal agent, Howard Marcus, will join us, and the Taylor Swift album will be out. You'll hear from the superstar, Jason Kelsey's, or I should say Travis Kelce. God damn it. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, if it's Wednesday, our former federal agent, Howard Marcus, will join us, and the Taylor Swift album will be out. You'll hear it and hear from her boyfriend, Travis. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3. That was awful. All right. I am the hell out of here.
6976. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
Love and Hip Hop Atlanta and Hard
96.1
Knocks. Don't forget to watch Hard Knocks. Oh, you're going to the movies.
I'm Bill Robbins. A project to expand Highway 99 from 4 to 6 lanes between Delano and Pixley broke ground on Monday. The project will cost around $170 million and cover less than a mile between Cecil Avenue in Delano and Court Street in Pixley. Michael Navarro, District Director of Caltrans District 6, says that safety is always the number one goal. The project is expected to be finished in the fall of 2026. Kern County firefighters had to put out a vegetation fire just east of the Highway 58 Sand Canyon exit in the Tehachapi area. 5 to 10 acres have already been burned, but forward progress of the blaze has been stopped. Crews have been on scene through most of the night in case there are still any hot spots left. Residents of Arvin have begun voting in a special mail-in election. The election will determine who fills the vacant seat on the city council. The election, scheduled for August 26, features 3 candidates running. This after a debate between the council and the community on whether or not to hold the election.